Number 10, Will Smith. Kicking off our list is husband, father, and it turns out ex Will Smith. In season 3, episode 12 of the series, Jada invited her husband Will onto the show so they could speak openly and publicly about the alleged relationship between herself and singer August Alsina during their brief separation in 2015. The singer claimed that he had to have Will's blessing to begin the relationship, despite the pair technically being separated at the time and, well, beyond that. Jada confirmed the relationship did in fact take place, but they were on a break. She denies that Will ever gave August permission, but when referring to the situation as an entanglement, Will snaps and makes her correct herself to say relationship instead. While it may have been playful, seeing Will Smith get mad at all after 2022 just brings pure anxiety into my soul. Number 9, Leah Remini. The world of science. It's the gift that keeps on giving. In 2015, Leah Remini wrote a memoir called Troublemaker. In the book, Leah recounts seeing Jada appearing at scientific gatherings, specifically talking about one instance in particular when Jada refused to participate in a game of hide and seek with Tom Cruise in his backyard. Why does that sound like a dream that I had? When asked on Bravo's Watch What Happens Live for her side of the story, Pinkett Smith said that she remembered things differently and that the game was more like adults innocently playing hide and seek rather than an actual thing. Remini says that she took this as textbook fair gaming, a strategy with scientific folk where they mock and then unrelentingly discredit critics of their beliefs. On Red Table Talk, Smith explained a series of tweets defending her family and their religious beliefs, and later stated that she actually grew up in a fairly liberal household and was allowed to explore all religions and just kind of chose which ones that she liked for herself. Remini reminded Pinkett Smith of her high celebrity status, stating that she was interrogated for months after simply asking one member of the crew where the leader's wife was, like not if she was alive, just how she was doing. Things ended civilly between the two, with both agreeing that despite the feud and misunderstanding, that it's never too late to heal. Ew. Number 8, Nick Cannon. TV personality and full-time baby maker Nick Cannon has been open about his disdain for the series for quite some time, denying multiple requests to actually show up on Red Table Talk. After the show's cancellation, Cannon took to Twitter to express his joy, stating that the show was toxic and added that there was too much honesty on a program, saying that he just wanted to mind his own business and asked if everyone else could do the same thing. He also claimed that if it weren't for his involvement with the program, that husband Will Smith would have never even thought of touching Chris Rock's face, but we now know that that's not the case. I understand the hate. Red Table Talk got into too much information territory way too many times to be a normal talk show, and Jada seeks out reasons to bring her family on the air constantly. I'm all for family drama, but maybe not in front of a camera being recorded to share with millions of people, especially got a book coming out anyway. Number 7, Tom Segura. Comedian Tom Segura was one of many celebrities to speak out after the now infamous Chris Rock incident at 2022. Now, I will be paraphrasing the things Tom says, as I don't want to just quote a series of bleeps over and over again. It gets rough. Tom tweeted, "This girl has been bald. Jokes about it or her are fine. It was tame AF. You super sensitive about it? Buy a wig." Boom. Roasted. While Pinkett Smith hasn't herself commented on the posts, many fans were quick to defend Jada and call out the comedian as a bully. Fans of Segura know his style, and he kept to that, responding to the haters, comparing their sensitivity to a certain member of his anatomy, before posting a video of him landing in New York City and stating, "Just landed in NYP, you dusty, bald-headed snitches. See you at the show." Personally, I'd love to see Jada and Tom go head-to-head in a roast battle. If we could put that on the air instead of everything that's been on the air, that would be great. Number 6, Gabrielle Union. The beef started 17 years ago, a long time to hold a grudge, but why? Well, they don't really know. Jada brought Gabrielle onto the show to address the fact that despite the two always crossing paths and being cold with each other, that neither could remember what caused the tension. Union called Jada on the phone, and they both attempt to piece together what exactly left such a terrible taste in each other's mouth. They tried and tried, but they could not remember, and eventually Union agreed to appear on the show, where the two just kind of put the past behind them and they laughed it off, chalking it up to the drama of young divas. They had a good time on the show, just catching up and discussing life, and it actually apparently turned out pretty okay. I know this is supposed to be negative, but hey, let's all take a deep breath and just enjoy the fact that there was an okay conversation on that show one time, and only one time. Everything else is very bad. Number 5, August Alsina. Mentioned previously in the list, August Alsina is a rapper and the former love interest of the star of our list, Jada Pinkett Smith. The two first met in 2015 at a concert for Jaden and Willow Smith, and their connection was was instant. The two became very good friends as August was going through some substance control issues at the time, and Smith was this helpful hand that he needed. This would explain why over time their relationship turned romantic after Jada and Will took their brief break from their marriage, but Jada wasn't left alone. August told radio host Angela Yee that he truly and really deeply loved her. That is a direct quote. Unfortunately for August, Jada thought it would be a wonderful idea to bring out her husband Will and air out their dirty laundry on Red Table Talk. August was revealed as a secret lover, but the Smiths say that they reached a level of unconditional love within their marriage. But we all know that they've been separated for 7 years, so that was bull poo poo. Number 4, Jaden Smith. Another member of the Smith family, Jaden is remembered by many as the little guy from the Karate Kid remake, but he's now mainly known for his singing chops and fashion abilities, actually. Jaden has been living in the shadow of his father from day one, being thrust into the limelight before he even hit double digits. With famous parents comes challenges, and one of those challenges seems to be a lack of hugs. The Smith kids are famously left to their own devices and have been financially independent from a very young age, meaning they never really had to ask mom and dad to help buy them something because they just did it themselves. They had the money. They can make that much now. Episode of Table Talk, Jaden confronts his mother on the way he was raised, claiming the style of parenting ruined his life and his ability to connect with people. Jaden has consistently been a good soul in the media and is extremely loyal to his fan base, something that he most certainly didn't learn from his mother. Number 3, Khloe Kardashian. Khloe Kardashian is an American personality and socialite present in the media for years, starring alongside her fellow family members on the hit show Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Khloe released a series of tweets a while back claiming that men blaming the women in the relationship for all of their issues was invalid and hurtful. While this is true sometimes, many have called out the star in her comments during a very famous interview from Red Table Talk in which Jordyn Woods came forward and told the truth about an alleged cheating scandal. The man in question, Tristan Thompson, claimed that Jordyn performed a number of provocative activities, but she denied many of those claims. Despite this, Khloe publicly blamed Jordyn for the breakup in her family and names her as an enemy. During all this, Jada Smith just kind of sat back, watched, and laughed while everything was happening, sipping her tea in a red chair. Number 2, Chris Rock. In 2022, Chris Rock was hosting the 94th annual Oscars when he decided to make a joke about Jada Pinkett Smith and her hair loss. It was a great joke. Immediately following the joke, which landed for everybody else in the audience, Will Smith stood up, walked on stage, and clocked Chris in the face. Now, initially this was seen as a joke between the two, but then Will started shouting several times at Chris to keep his wife's name out of his mouth. It's still burned into my memory to this day. Chris handled the situation well, getting back to the festivities and just kind of keeping the night going along. But then Will Smith won the Oscar for Best Actor. Rock took to social media to address the controversy and let everybody know that he meant no harm and felt the response to have been highly extreme. He also claims that if Jada had found the joke funny, nothing would have happened. In fact, moments before walking on stage, you can see Will Smith giggling. It's almost like she whispered, "Get him," and then it activated some kind of a destruct code. Jada posted several videos claiming that Rock was dragging the situation out too long and to put the past behind him. "I'm sorry, Smith family, no Ben in Black mind eraser things here. Those aren't real. That was just a movie." It's just a movie, Nate. Number 1, Sheree Zampino. Don't recognize that name? Well, only hardcore Will Smith fans might, because Sheree is Will's ex-wife. Briefly married in the mid-90s, Will and Sheree were adorable together, regularly appearing at red carpet events and movie premieres. Adorable and inseparable. It's so cute. But behind the scenes, things weren't peachy at all. It was revealed on an episode of Red Table Talk that Jada Pinkett Smith briefly partook in an affair with Will in 1995. Jada claims that Sheree and Will were towards the end of their relationship and was simply in her eyes dating a newly divorced man. She would later admit that technically that wasn't true, and while Will was divorced, hadn't really come into play yet. Sheree discovered what was taking place and went off on the couple, and not long after, ended the marriage. In 2018, the two got back together to speak candidly about the incident on Red Table Talk. Just another one of the terrible episodes that I truly recommend that you don't watch.
Number 10, Billboard Music Awards. At the Billboard Music Awards in May, Cara Delevingne stole the show and captured everyone's attention with her erratic behavior and apparent obsession with Megan Thee Stallion. Several of the model's antics ended up going viral following the show, including her peering around a corner and licking her lips while staring at Megan as she posed for the photographers, which I guess was Cara's idea idea of a joke. Cara could be seen repeatedly lurking around the rapper, ducking in and out of the shot while sticking her tongue out and shouting. The photos took Twitter by storm, with one user writing, "Your chances of being watched by Cara Delevingne are slim but never zero." Eventually, she ran onto the red carpet and grabbed the train of Meghan's dress to give the photos some added movement. Some people believe that Meghan looked irritated by it all. Not only that, but video footage from a party resurfaced online which showed Cara attempting to kiss Meghan while they were on the dance floor, and Meghan literally had to grab her shoulders and hold her back. If you're loving this video so far, please hit that like button, it would really help us out. Number 9. Licking Azalea Banks. Not too long ago, a video went viral of the model attempting to lick the rapper Azalea Banks while she was performing her hit track 212 at Leah McSweeney's Halloween party last year. The video was pretty telling because you could see that Azalea got to the end of her song, and Cara was literally on her knees in front of her with her tongue out, working her way up the rapper's legs until she was standing alongside the musician. Yes, she seemed like she was licking the entire length of her body, but it's only weird if Azalea says so, and the rapper apparently didn't seem to mind and responded to the video on Twitter, saying that Cara is her girl through and through. Quote, "There were plenty of times I would just hide Cara in my apartment for days at a time to make sure she got some deep sleep and some actual food and wasn't just thrown out amongst the wolves like that." Well, it seems like the nature of their relationship is super ambiguous, but obviously there's a lot of love there. Number 8. Peg the patriarchy. In 2021, Cara attended the Met Gala wearing a white bulletproof vest with the words "Peg the patriarchy" on it. The look drew a lot of attention and praise, but only at first. Eventually, the vest drummed up a lot of controversy as Cara was accused of stealing the message from Luna Matatas, a queer woman of color who trademarked the phrase in 2015. In an Instagram post, Luna wrote, "While I'm giddy that Peg the patriarchy made it to the Met Gala, Cara Delevingne tried to pull it off as their own. No credit to me, the creator and the owner of the trademark." Ironically, Luna said that she trademarked the phrase because she was concerned that people like Cara would co-opt her movement, and that the supermodel would grossly misrepresent everything that the original term would stand for. According to Luna, the movement is about subversion. It's not sexual and it's not about men, which is exactly how Cara described it to Keke Palmer when she was being interviewed. So when she posted the outfit on Instagram, her comment section filled up with people demanding that she credit the original designer, which she never ended up doing. Number 7. The Doja Cat photo. At the Billboard Music Awards, Cara Delevingne and Megan Thee Stallion were seated next to each other, and Doja Cat was seated in the front row in front of them. Several clips of the moment went viral on Twitter as fans pointed out that it looked like Megan and Doja were trying to have a conversation with one another, but Cara was constantly interrupting. The whole night was crazy. Whether she was literally on the floor trying to take photos of Doja or sticking her tongue out at Megan, her inappropriate antics eventually led people to accuse the model of fetishizing black women. You might think that's a bit of a reach, but Megan definitely seemed uncomfortable with that kind of attention on her, and even posted a photo to Instagram of her and Doja next to each other with Cara photoshopped out of the picture. It wasn't exactly subtle because everyone saw the original version of the photo, which shows that Cara was actually sitting between them at the time. Number 6. Amber Heard affair. The 2022 defamation trial between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard was really quite explosive, and it exposed a number of shocking revelations about both parties. But something that really caught everyone's attention was a leaked deposition that went viral online during the trial, which suggested that Cara was involved in a three-way affair between Amber and her billionaire ex-boyfriend Elon Musk. The video featured a key witness in Josh Drew, who was married to one of Amber's friends at the time, who said that to his knowledge, Amber Heard, Elon Musk, and Cara Delevingne spent the night together. The three of them reportedly hooked up at Johnny's downtown LA penthouse in late 2016 after somewhere around the time that he and Amber split up. But there was speculation, just like with James Franco, that Amber was seeing Cara and Elon while she was still with Johnny. In the end, the supermodel did not have to testify in the trial, but for a period of time, it certainly seemed like she was going to get pulled into the legal battle. Number 5. Coachella. Beyonce's culture-shaking performance at the 2018 Coachella Music Festival became so iconic that it was literally called Baychella. Like everyone else, Cara was a huge fan of the show and had nothing but good things to say. She wrote on Instagram, "I am speechless. That performance made me burst into tears and sent shivers down my spine." But her followers were not too happy with that and accused her of hypocrisy, because before the event, Cara was one of the loudest voices supporting the No-Chella movement, which was a boycott of the festival after the owner was caught making donations to anti-LGBTQ+ causes. As the backlash against her started escalating, she hit back at critics on Instagram saying, "I am allowed to shame that man and show my appreciation of an artist at the same time. I still refuse to go to a festival that is owned by someone who is anti-LGBTQ+ and pro But her followers certainly didn't see it that way, and a messy debate took place in her comment section. Number 4, the Jimmy Choo ad. In 2017, the Me Too movement was gaining some real momentum, largely due to Harvey Weinstein being exposed as a serial predator. Cara Delevingne was one of the women who came forward with her own disturbing allegations about him that same year, and revealed on Instagram that Harvey had convinced her to follow him to his hotel room and tried to kiss her before she managed to escape. But even though Cara was brave enough to speak up against sexual harassment, it somehow backfired on her when she decided to star in an ad for Jimmy Choo called Shimmer in the Dark. The short film shows her walking around New York City at night, drawing attention from several men on the street, who then start catcalling her and complimenting her. But the attention that she gets is framed as a good thing, and that's what really seemed to anger people, as they pointed to the hypocrisy of it all. Even though most of the backlash was directed at Cara, Jimmy Choo eventually decided to pull the ad as it was deemed too controversial. Number 3, stealing shirt designs. In 2015, the owner of Other Wild design studio, Rachel Burks, started selling feminist t-shirts with the slogan that was created in the 70s. She was doing it ethically and as a collaboration with the original designer. The t-shirts said, "The future is female," and they were an instant hit. But when Cara got her hands on them and posted the shirts on Instagram, they really blew up because of her huge following. The British model saw a pretty good business opportunity and announced that she was going to be making and selling her own version of the shirt and giving some of the proceeds to charity. But fans were quick to point out that she hadn't designed this shirt, and therefore it wasn't right to just sell it without crediting the original makers. And once Other Wild design studio caught on, they accused Cara of stealing the idea from a small business. They argued about who had the right to print the slogan, but because Cara was on the receiving end of most of the backlash, she eventually caved and agreed to link the company's website in her posts about the t-shirt. Number 2, Julia Fox comments. During an episode of their Forbidden Fruits podcast last year, Julia Fox and her co-host Nikki Takesh recounted a bizarre story of Cara being inappropriate towards Azealia Banks. The story goes that the two of them were at a party where the rapper was performing, and when they noticed something weird, Nikki said, "We looked to the side of the stage and we see this person trying to keep pushing past security, and we realized it was Cara Delevingne." Julia then said that they realized very quickly that Cara was wasted, and that after several attempts, she finally made her way up on stage while Azealia was performing and even stole the mic from her. Julia said that Cara's behavior was thirsty, and she could tell by Azalea's face that she was over it and just wanted to have her moment. It was a funny story that lines up very well with the video of Cara trying to lick Azalea's leg on stage, but it's probably just the way they party together, considering that the two of them are close friends. And coming in at number 1, the awkward interview. In the middle of a promotional tour for her film Paper Towns, Cara appeared on Good Day Sacramento, and it was a complete disaster from start to finish. First of all, the anchors called her Carla instead of Cara. Then they asked her whether or not she had read the book on which the film is based, and why she didn't seem more excited to be on the show despite making millions from the movie. In all fairness, Cara really didn't seem too enthusiastic when it came to promoting the film, and she eventually refused to respond to their questions. She really wasn't giving them anything to work with at all, except for quite a bad attitude. But it didn't really help that one of the anchors straight up told her, "We'll let you take a little nap and maybe get a Red Bull," essentially kicking her off the program. Although there is still a debate to this day about what made the interview so uncomfortable to watch, it is certainly one for the books.
First one up is David Fincher, the director of the cinematic 2007 film Zodiac, which stars Gyllenhaal as Robert Graysmith, a newspaper cartoonist, a real-life person too, by the way, who becomes obsessed with catching the Zodiac killer. To help the police investigators and an ace reporter played by Robert Downey Jr., Graysmith slowly starts to piece together the case while the killer stalks the streets of 70 San Francisco, picking off victims one by one, but he does ruin his own life and happiness in the movie in the process. In an interview for the New York Times ahead of the film's release, Gyllenhaal noted how the director, David Fincher, paints with people, confessing that it was tough to be a color. The actor was politely criticizing Fincher's directorial style, which required the actor to perform a huge number of takes, sometimes up to 70 for important scenes. Just doing one scene over and over 70 times, yeah, I'd be bitching too. It wasn't until Fincher sat down with the New York Times ahead of the release of Mank that he was able to be given the opportunity to plead his side. He stated, "Jake was in an unenviable position of being very young and having a lot of people vie for his attention while working for someone who does not allow for you to take a day off," Fincher began. "I believe you have to have everything out of your peripheral vision. I think Jake's philosophy was informed by, look, he'd made a bunch of movies, even as a child, but I don't think he'd ever been asked to concentrate on a minute. And I think he was very distracted. With the release of Jarhead on the horizon, Gyllenhaal was being told that he was about to become a very big star indeed. Fincher Fincher recognized the damaging influence of CEOs and talent agents, so did all he could to hit the scatterbrained actor with, quote, the fastball. This led to frequent confrontations on set. There are definitely times when I can be confrontational if I see someone slacking, admitting people go through rough patches all the time. I do, so I try to be compassionate about it. But it's a $400,000 a day, and we might not get a chance to come back and do that again. Fincher went on to note the tensions had to by the end of the shoot, with Gyllenhaal even offering an apology. The second person is obvious. It's Taylor Swift. She and Jake Gyllenhaal had a PR relationship that started in November of 2010 and ended a month later in December of 2010. Swift first linked to Gyllenhaal, however, in October of 2010 when the pair spent time backstage at Saturday Night Live. In November 2010, they were photographed enjoying maple lattes in Brooklyn, spending Thanksgiving together, only 3 weeks into dating. Their PR contract then expired, and it was all over by December 2010. It seems, though, that while Jake was aware the relationship was all business, young Taylor's feelings still did get involved, leading her to be heartbroken over the publicity stunt relationship. Swifties may have their blood boiling by now, hearing me call it PR, but dude, we all knew it in 2010, so it's actually kind of crazy to watch people switch up 13 years later. We knew then. Don't lie to yourself now just to suit your narrative. This was always PR. In January of 2012, Swift seemingly reflected on the split that bothered her so much in an interview with Vogue while discussing the inspiration behind her album Red, which would be released in October 2012. There's just been this earth-shattering, not recent, but absolutely crash and burn heartbreak, she told Vogue. And that will turn out to be what the next album's about. The only way that I can feel better about myself, pull myself out of that awful pain of losing someone, is writing songs about it to get some sort of clarity. It makes sense that that would be the case. If you fall in love with someone you only have a contract to date and they don't fall in love back, it's gonna hurt when it ends. The lyrics featured in Swift's All Too Well hinted at the discord her and that relationship with Jake Gyllenhaal featured, seemingly referencing their tense breakup. Swift sang, "And you call me up again just to break me like a promise, so casually cruel in the name of being honest." But she also sang of her seeming appreciation for him, saying, "Oh, your sweet disposition and my wide-eyed gaze." Jake Gyllenhaal was thrown into the spotlight in a major way in 2021 when Taylor Swift released her album Red, Taylor's version, and chose to include a 10-minute version of her song All Too Well, which famously explores the singer's 1-month relationship with Jake Gyllenhaal. It sparked massive hate and fueled conspiracies that he's like a G-worder and a narcissist and a and a gaslighter. Taylor's never said any of that, and none of his confirmed exes have ever said anything bad about Gyllenhaal, whether her fans like it or not. So running a smear campaign and calling someone these harsh as accusatory labels is a very serious act, and it's becoming very normalized online for random people to dub someone they do not know a or an offender. They're serious accusations, guys. Humble up, get smart. Their relationship did end years ago. Both of them have grown older. They are both celebrities, but they are humans as well. They need their own privacy. They need intimate space. As fans, you need to know that celebrities' personal matters are not public properties, and you don't get to decide based off of what limited information you know that they are or are not a bad person. That being said, some people want the public involved, like Domika Ferrara. She wrote the article, The Movie Star and Me in 2022. It's a long read. Here are the cliff notes. Doesn't name Jake specifically, but she does put enough clues so that you know it's him. She was a 23-year-old intern for the play that he was starring in at the time. It goes into great detail about how he pursued her, flirting with her, asking her on dates, and how everyone involved in the production encouraged her to be with him, but didn't find him chasing after younger but still legal and adult women to be an issue, which, yeah, is prone to doing that. He asks her repeatedly if she finds his intense flirting uncomfortable, and she says no, which admits that it could kind of make her entire essay's point moot. And she talks about how it was her job to stroke his ego. She says his sister Maggie and mother treated her with disdain, and they were going to have intercourse when she changed her mind because she was a virgin and she wasn't ready. He was okay with that, accepted intercourse wouldn't happen. She then volunteered to give him oral stimulation, which he agreed to. He ghosted her afterwards. She finds out he slept with countless of his interns. She feels that he manipulated her, was unprofessional, and played with her feelings. Written in 2022, and of course using images of Taylor Swift and her Red album, none of this was actually ever confirmed to be true. And since it's writing, which is conveniently published at the height of the Jake hate to ensure it would get the maximum clicks, thus maximum money, many have become more skeptical of the article in recent years, highlighting Domenica's status as a very wealthy and privileged Nepo baby, whose father has written several articles about actors and celebrities celebrities mistreating her or being mean to her, leading to some to believe that yes, it's not great Jake used her and left her out to dry, but she set up the story to be victimized and take advantage of Jake hate at the time, and at the end of the day, she's an adult who could say no. He never spoke out against Jake, but he spoke out against those who trivialized their performance. Heath Ledger's next. As mentioned, there's not really many people out there who spoke out negatively against Jake, and we covered it already. So we'll talk about some important moments of recollection for him, wherein his co-star actually defended their film with a vigor that he himself regrets not having. Brokeback Mountain was an important film for all involved, but especially for Heath Ledger and Jake Gyllenhaal, the main characters. As many know, the film was a romantic drama about two cowboys who fell in love with each other, and it resurfaced an interview with Out. Gyllenhaal explained how the film's most powerful line resonated with everyone involved. To quote, "That line, 'I don't know how to quit you,' has moved. It has been mocked. It has been everything in between. But I remember coming out of that scene, off of the ridge of that hill, and seeing a number of the crew, some of whom didn't even know what the movie was about, crying," Gyllenhaal shared. But at the time, even Gyllenhaal didn't really see the significance of the line. When I first read that line, I was like, what is that? Now I realize that anybody who has loved knows what that feels like, he further elaborated. The interesting part of casting us at such a young age was that we didn't completely understand what we were involved in, and that's the beauty of the movie as well. So, when people turned that line into a joke, Heath Ledger couldn't help but take it personally. To quote Gyllenhaal, he was extraordinarily serious about the political issues surrounding the movie when it came out, he said. A lot of times people would want to have fun and joke about it, and he was vehement about it being serious, to the point where he didn't even really want to hear about anything that was spun of. Heath Ledger's passion for Brokeback Mountain ran so deep he even allowed the Oscars to joke about it, and rightfully so. The Academy came up with an idea for an opening that involved the Ang Lee film, and although Jake Gyllenhaal didn't mind it, Ledger said no, and that he wanted no part. I mean, I remember they wanted to do an opening for the Academy Awards that year that was sort of joking about it, Gyllenhaal told Another Man magazine, and Heath refused. I was sort of at the time like, oh, okay, whatever. I'm always like, it's all in good fun, and Heath said, it's not a joke to me. I don't want to make any jokes about it. Good for you, Heath. A moment many thought was a warning sign was a redo of a famous interview. Our last segment is Jennifer Aniston. Tony Curtis once joked that kissing Marilyn Monroe was like kissing a certain German dictator. Why would he say that about Marilyn Monroe? Curtis later said it was taken out of context, and it was actually just him snapping at a reporter for the ridiculous question. It wasn't said in a like, ugh, kissing her was horrible. It's like kissing that dictator. It was more like, are you stupid? Why are you asking me if it was good to kiss Marilyn Monroe? Yeah, okay, it was like kissing a dictator, idiot. On an admittedly lesser scale than dictator comparisons, Gyllenhaal once said filming an intercourse scene with Jennifer Aniston was like torture. The press made big news out of it because, like Curtis, removing inflection or sarcasm from his statement and putting it on paper, which is 2D, makes it seem genuine and serious, but it wasn't. And Jake was more sarcastic in his responses to people finally realizing that. As he revealed, Jake actually had a crush on Aniston while she was starring in Friends, which is what made things awkward when they shot the intercourse scenes together for the 2002 romance, The Good Girl. Thus, why he dubbed it torture. I think having fake intercourse with your former crush while 40-some crew and cast people you interact with every day and have to make eye contact with later, watch, is valid to call That doesn't turn me on, he said with a shrug.
First off, if you aren't already caught up on all the Ariana Grande drama, here is the quick scoop. Ariana was married to Dalton Gomez, but while filming the upcoming Wicked movie, she reportedly fell in love with her co-star Ethan Slater, whose claim to fame is playing SpongeBob on Broadway. But here's the kicker, SpongeBob has a spouse, and so does Ariana. Ariana filed for divorce in 2022 from Dalton, and Ethan Slater's wife and child are apparently betrayed by his affair with Ariana. Oh no. But this is not the first time Ariana has come under fire for cheating. Naya Rivera, the late star of Glee, had some tea to spill in her book. Ariana began dating Naya's ex-fiance Big Sean not too long after they called off their wedding plans in 2014. But according to Naya, all was not well in her relationship. She and Big Sean had been fighting frequently while he was on the road. That's not the most fun fun thing to go through, but it is about to get even more dramatic. According to Refinery 29, one chapter contains the following quote. On the one day that he was back in LA, he said he didn't want to see me, but since she had a key, she let herself into his house. I walked in, I went downstairs, and guess what little girl is sitting cross-legged on the couch listening to music? It rhymes with Samariana Shaman Day. It's unclear exactly what Naya is alluding to here, but it doesn't seem like she was too pleased to find them hanging out together. As we know, Big Sean and Ariana went on to date for nearly a year, and Naya got engaged and married to Ryan Dorsey before sadly passing away in 2020 after a drowning incident. Ariana's Nickelodeon co-star Jennette McCurdy also had some very unpleasant things to say about her. When Victorious ended, Nickelodeon created a spin-off in which Ariana Grande would reprise her role as Kat Valentine, and Jennette McCurdy of iCarly would reprise her role as Sam Huckett. The short-lived series Sam and Kat ran for one season, but that didn't stop the show from having some behind-the-scenes drama. In 2014, TMZ reported that McCurdy was being paid less than Grande on the Nickelodeon show, even though the two of them shared equal billing. Grande denied the pay rumors on her Facebook page. I am not making more money than my co-star, nor do I think I should be. So we can all move on and get out of our heads that this was a money thing, because I don't play like that at all. I am, have always been, and always will be about equality and fairness. In her book, I'm Glad My Mom Died, McCurdy reflects on the disdain she felt for Grande, who she claims was given special treatment during their time on Sam and Kat. I'm pissed about it. I'm pissed at her, jealous of her, so now every time she misses work, it feels like a personal attack. From that moment on, I didn't like her. I couldn't like her, she writes. Jennette also shares a time Ariana was able to miss filming an episode because of conflicts with her budding singing career, but Jennette was never allowed to miss a day. There was also one time when Jennette was on set for Sam and Kat, ready to shoot an episode, when Ariana came humming happily late onto set. Jennette asked where she was, and Ariana told her she had dinner with Tom Hanks the night before. Jennette says she was fuming of jealousy. Pete Davidson, Ariana's ex-boyfriend, had some dramatic things to say about her as well. The singer and Saturday Night Live star connected in 2016 while they were both in relationships and later became inseparable. In May 2018, they were confirmed as a couple. Just weeks later, the Lovebirds announced their engagement and immediately started sharing the juicy details of their relationship. In fact, Grande publicly spoke about David's manhood on several occasions, which the comedian was less than thrilled about. The couple seemed infatuated and super happy, so when it all came crashing down after only 4 months, everybody was a bit shocked. After the breakup, Grande tried to reach out, but Davidson wanted nothing to do with the Thank You Next singer. He blocked her and said, "Stop reaching out. You're not good for my health. I cannot have this in my life." Yikes. Kanye West has beef with just about every celebrity, and apparently including Miss Ariana Grande. In December 2018, Kanye West went after Grande for offering unsolicited commentary while he was in the middle of a Twitter rant about Drake. After she encouraged the public to turn their attention away from the grown men arguing online and instead to focus on a song she was gearing up to release, the rapper called Grande out for trying to be, quote, cool. In a follow-up tweet, he expressed disappointment in the singer for capitalizing on his mental health. "All of this foolishness weighed on my mental health, so at Ariana Grande, you know I got love for you, but until you're ready to really make sure everybody's okay, don't use me or this moment to promote a song." Yikes. Drake Bell also had something to say about Ariana. Drake Bell is most known for his role in Nickelodeon's Drake and Josh. Since the show's wrap in 2008, Bell has busied himself with making music and criticizing some of Hollywood's biggest stars. In a lengthy rant about the industry, he targeted Justin Bieber and Lady Gaga, among others, and shared his thoughts on Ariana Grande, deeming her undeserving of her career. Wow, there's just a lot of really young, entitled people, he says. I don't think a lot of these young people have to work very hard. He told that to BuzzFeed. Ariana Grande is a billionaire before she's been an artist. You have to work to be able to appreciate what you have. What work did she ever have to do in her life? Also, apparently to James Charles, Ariana Grande is the, quote, rudest celebrity he has ever met, despite the fact that they've apparently never actually met in person. In 2018, Charles claimed that the two had started a virtual friendship after he'd attended one of her concerts and shared footage of it online. At the time, Charles was experiencing severe backlash for numerous online controversies, including his infamous tweet about Ebola, where he tweeted, "I can't believe we're going to Africa today. OMG, what if we get Ebola?" Oh, James. Ariana apparently did not like this comment, as well as many others, and unfollowed James on Instagram. I messaged her and I was like, "Hey, did I do something wrong?" And she literally was like, "Hey babe, I just saw a lot of angry tweets from my fans and I would never want to disappoint them, so I unfollowed you," James said in a YouTube video. James reportedly sent back a strong-worded message to the singer and says he later regretted how he handled the situation with her. But honestly, I think Ariana was lucky to get out of that situation while she could, as James's biggest scandal was yet to come. In 2021, a 16-year-old boy claimed Charles had pressured him into exchanging photos via the Snapchat app. Charles spoke out against the allegations and claimed he had been unaware of the boy's age at the time of the interaction. But just a couple days later, 3 more males came forward to share their negative Snapchat experiences with James, including a 17-year-old boy that states James continued flirting with him after finding out his age. Yikes. Back to Ariana, another celebrity who has had some beef with her is the queen herself, Rihanna. Rihanna's shady side came in full force during Ariana's performance at the 2014 iHeartRadio Music Awards. When Ariana took to the stage to perform, many thought her dance moves appeared sloppy, and apparently so did Rihanna. The camera panned to her multiple times, covering her mouth, giggling during Ariana's performance. But this isn't the first time Riri has took a swipe at stars on stage. In 2013, she appeared physically repulsed when Miley Cyrus twerked in front of Robin Thicke during the VMAs, and also during Britney Spears' disastrous 2007 performance of Give Me More. There was also a burst of giggles from Rihanna. Lindsay Lohan also had some thoughts about Ariana, and they aren't too nice. When Ariana posted a picture on Instagram posing with Hairspray Live co-star Dove Cameron, Lindsay felt the urge to comment, "Too much makeup." Ariana's fans stepped in right away with some pretty mean comments to Lindsay, such as @Lindsay Lohan, "But your movie career didn't even last adult years. By the time you were 24, you already looked 42. No one knows the true beef between Lindsay and Ariana, but it's clear Lindsay is not a fan. Jay Brooks, Ariana Grande's ex-boyfriend, says she cheated on him with singer Nathan Sykes. Nathan and Ariana collaborated on a song and apparently got a little too close for comfort. Brooks ranted on Twitter saying, "Once you're cheated on, you should never go back, and I did because I wasn't ready to give up on love and something that was everything to me." The singer added, "Today was supposed to be our 1-year anniversary, but instead I'm writing this. Do you know how this makes me feel?" She may not respond to this post, may ignore it, may deny it, or may own up to it. She's gonna do what's best for her and do what she thinks is right, which is exactly what I'm doing. I'm looking out for myself. Good for you, Jay. Good for you. Although, Frankie Grande, Ariana's brother, wrote, "Anybody who believes that rumor about my sister cheating needs to pause, open their eyes, and remember how much she loved him. He crushed her with a phone breakup, and to see Ari that miserable broke my heart." Jay fired back with, "Don't you dare talk about me. You don't even know me." Last but not least, we have Giuliana Rancic, a reporter for E! News. She and Ariana met on the red carpet, and she told US Weekly, "I was at the AMAs and little Ariana comes over. I feel like, bing, elbow in my side. I'm like, what's going on? And they pushed me to the other side, so I had to be on my ugly side. But I felt a little bit of, it was like you either get on the other side or we don't do an interview." Rancic added, "I just felt like it's one thing if it's Mariah Carey, I'll get on any side. I'll bend down, I'll climb a ladder, whatever it takes to get Mariah to do an interview. But when you're new to the block, you just gotta do what you gotta do. Try to get a great reputation, try to go overboard to please people." I guess Ariana knows her good side and will do anything to not film on the bad side.
At number 10, we have Amber Heard. Now, many haven't heard much of her since her loss in the defamation case against her ex-husband Johnny Depp. However, most recently, Amber has been blamed for Cara's addiction struggle by a famous gossip columnist. Cara has opened up numerous times to the media about how rough her struggles with hard substances and thoughts of ending her life have been for her. But how was Amber involved? Well, for one, there's her past alleged romantic involvement with the actress while Amber was still married to Johnny. This went as far as Cara's name being dragged into their trial because old elevator footage obtained by the opposing legal team showed the actresses making out, which further proved Amber Amber was unfaithful during her marriage. But their connection goes even deeper and seems a lot more troubling for the stars. Allegedly, they were additionally the organizers of sensual Hollywood parties, which numerous billionaire tech moguls were involved in. Jessica insisted that Cara was supposedly one of the famous women that Amber had set up her billionaire clients with. However, Jessica has no solid confirmation about how Cara was rumoredly involved in these events, aside from pictures of Cara at the parties. Like most parties, there were always drink and substance consumption occurring, which was said to be a major portion of the issues Cara is still reportedly going through. Jessica has labeled Amber as the enabler for, quote, hooking Cara on hardcore redacted at these parties. While there's no real way of knowing how much or little this could have affected Cara, it definitely didn't help. If you haven't yet, tap the notification bell for more, it really helps our channel. At number 9, we have Megan Thee Stallion. Now we all know how confusing it was to see Cara's encounters with Megan at the 2022 Billboard Music Awards. It got so wild that fans worryingly assumed Cara was tripping on something and acting creepy while she followed the body artist around. At the time, one tweeted, "Memes beside, Cara Delevingne is so creepy and I hope she gets a restraining order from Megan Thee Stallion." Another accused Cara of being obsessed. However, the Suicide Squad actress eventually had to clear her name from the viral moment on July 22nd, where she had to finalize that she was simply a really excited hype woman at the time. The incident in question, in short, is that Cara was trailing Megan around the event, pulling odd faces at Megan and staring at Megan posing on the red carpet, later joining Megan in her photo op to assist her with her dress. It was eventually clarified that Cara attended the event with the rapper, and Megan did not deny this. In Cara's explanation to Jimmy Fallon on The Tonight Show, she explained, quote, "I really wanted to see her play and she asked me to come along with her. I didn't know I was gonna go sit or do anything. I thought I was just going to come and watch her play. I walked in and I had a seat in the front row and I'm like, I'm not meant to be here." At number 8, we have Poppy Delevingne. According to numerous reports, Poppy visited Cara's West Hollywood home last Wednesday morning. News outlets didn't state what she was there for, as she most likely didn't give reporters a reason. However, it was detailed that Poppy exited the house around 11 a.m. to leave in a black SUV. Poppy did inform them about an update on Cara, where she told them Cara was doing fine nowadays. It's still unknown whether or not Cara was home while Poppy was visiting, though. Still, further media news released pieces that the socialite had rushed over to her sister from London because she was concerned for Cara's well-being with all the public incidents she was experiencing, mixed in with her no-show events. It's a well-known fact that Cara and Poppy share an incredibly close sisterly bond. At number 7, we have Cara's Suicide Squad co-star and bestie Margot Robbie. According to reports made by TMZ, Margot was another famous pal of Cara's who popped to visit to her home on that same Wednesday. In Margot's case, she was photographed taking off from Cara's house looking visibly distressed and in tears. In photos, Margot is pictured with a reported bag of toiletries. Her visit came in light of Cara's then latest incidents, indicating that she might not be okay. Margot was described to still be distraught several hours after leaving Cara's residence around 5 p.m. Similar to Poppy, nobody knows if Cara was inside when Margot showed up. At number 6, we have Jay-Z. One of Cara's most heavily reported incidents over the past few weeks have been her getting forced to depart off the rapper's private jet while she was experiencing a reportedly erratic display at an LA airport. The British model's family and friends remain in fear that they will need to soon host an urgent intervention for the English star after witnessing her recently questioning behavior. This occasion was also the time when shocking photos and videos of Cara emerged online, showing her twirling around the airport with no shoes on. Cara also reportedly had bruises littered on her arm and her hair was unbrushed. This also followed up on her behavior prior to, when she appeared to be out of the sort while smoking, and also from her, quote, wild behavior at her Ibiza party with her loved ones. At number 5, we have Doja Cat. Another female rapper whose presence Cara graced at the 2022 Billboard Music Awards was the need-to-know musician Doja. At the time, Cara donned every headline you can think of for her odd behavior regarding Megan, both prior to and during the awards ceremony. But these weren't the only things that caught the media's attention. While seated for the show, Cara was brightly stationed front and center, and on either side of her was Doja and Megan. A fan-recorded video showed Megan and Doja, who were both nominated for a big award, holding a regular conversation. The actress soon pops her head out seemingly out of the blue while they're discussing and chimes into their conversation. Doja, who noticed her presence right away in surprise, but seemed to not know Cara was there prior to her jumping in, said, "Oh my god, hi Cara Delevingne." In a since viral clip, Megan and Doja seemed to chuckle the encounter off. However, this is where things get a little weird. While they all seemed fine at the event, when it was over, Megan took to her Instagram stories to celebrate her win and the night. In one photo Megan reposted from a fan account, she and Doja are posed together smiling, but fans quickly pulled up the original photo and attempted to piece two and two together. In the OG, Cara was sitting between both rappers and resultantly ended up being edited out Diddy style from the snapshot. At number 4, we have Lady Mary Chartreuse. Starting with the fact that Mary has been sober since 2018 and Cara is supposedly spiraling nowadays, with reports saying she's falling back into her addiction. This may be proof that this particular friendship could be exposing more than they think. Both are people of importance in Hollywood who came from affluent upbringings and run in the same inner circle. The longtime friends were also both celebrating Cara's exclusive 30th birthday party together in Spain. But despite their closeness, many spectators of Cara's situation have hinted that Mary could be the most concerned for her besties nowadays. At number 3, we have all-rounder Rihanna. The supermodel and Rihanna are actually super close and have been for quite a few years now. Given the inner circle Cara runs in though, alongside her DGAF attitude, it may not be all that surprising to know that she has a personality so similar to her close friend known as the Queen Riri. The entrepreneur and superstar and Cara first introduced themselves to one another at a fashion show. The pair would later star in Luc Besson's then eventual film Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets. When Cara spoke about this experience of theirs once to Glamour, she stated, "I've seen her work in the studio, in concerts, in meeting, but to see her act was incredible. And while they do more than just party together, whenever they do, they clearly always have a great time." When Rihanna turned 30 in 2018, Cara posted an Instagram collage of them having fun in honor of her bestie's bash. Outside of their personal affairs, the two even support each other professionally. Cara walked Rihanna's 2020 Savage X Fenty runway for the Business Bosses fashion show. At number 2, we have Sienna Miller. Now, Sienna and Cara have quite similar behavior, and if you take a moment to even confirm this, you'll find tons of articles on their party animal ways. Furthermore, Sienna is basically dubbed as another enabler in Cara's life, as she is someone who Cara frequently allows her wilder side to shine with. This kind of dependence in the relationship could very well have played a hand in some of the recent reports of Cara floating around. However, Sienna is still considered to be one of Cara's closest friends, especially because of Sienna's friendship with Poppy. Reports detail that Poppy and Sienna lived together in New York after they left school. An apparent close insider to both Sienna and Cara informed Page 6 back at the beginning of the year that the duo were a pair who enjoyed a wild time together quite often, and that they've been longtime friends because of this. The insider was referencing a kiss Sienna and Cara reportedly shared in a club at the time. At number 1, we have Ajira Aboa, who met Cara while they were both still teen models. The pair did a featured sit-down with Glamour back in 2017, and in it, they spoke of their memories together and the fact that they couldn't figure out when their exact meeting happened. Ajira solely remembers Cara, quote, walking around on the street of London in a cardboard box. As the two recalled some of their earliest bonding moments in their life together, they giggled about the time they were at Glastonbury, as well as their first trip to the Burning Man festival. According to Cara, they were driven to the event by a woman who was pregnant and blind. When speaking on the basis of their friendship, Ajira described it as so. "People call us model best friends, but we were friends before. What I've always been grateful for in our friendship is that we expect absolutely nothing from each other, just friendship." Cara and Ajira even share a matching tattoo of a half-red heart inked onto their hands to symbolize the close genuinity of their friendship.
Number 10. Will Smith. Kicking off our list is husband, father, and professional smack master himself, Will Smith Esquire. In season 3, episode 12 of the series, Jada invited her husband, Will, onto the show so that they could talk and speak openly and publicly about an alleged relationship between herself and the singer August Alsina during a brief separation in 2015. The singer claimed that he had to have Will's blessing to begin the relationship in the first place, despite the pair technically being separated at the time. Jada confirmed that the relationship did in fact take place, but they were on a break, you know? Like, come on, they were on a break. She denies that Will ever gave August permission, you know, but when referring to the situation as an entanglement, Will snapped and he made her correct herself, saying, hey, it's a relationship, okay? Say the word relationship. Now, while it may have been playful, seeing him get mad at all after 2022 just brings pure anxiety into my soul. So please keep calm and Will Smith, go on. Number 9, Leah Remini. Scientology, the gift that just keeps on giving. Well, in 2015, Leah Remini wrote a Scientology exposing memoir called Troublemaker. In said book, Leah recounts seeing Jada appearing at Scientology gatherings, recounting one instance in particular when Jada refused to participate in a game of hide and seek in Tom Cruise's backyard. Why does that sound like the start to just a really bad joke? That actually happened? That's something that happened? Wow.
I want to go to Tom Cruise's backyard.
When asked on Bravo's Watch What Happens Live for her side of the story, Pinkett Smith said that she remembered the story differently and that the game was more like adults innocently playing hide and seek with their children. But Remini says she took this as textbook fair gaming, which is a strategy with Scientologists, where they mock and then unrelentingly discredit critics of their religions. Now, on Red Table Talk, Smith explained a series of tweets defending her family and their religious beliefs, later stating that she actually grew up in a fairly liberal household and was allowed to explore all religions and just simply choose for herself which one she wanted to commit to. Now, Remini reminded Pinkett Smith of her high celebrity status and stated that Remini herself was interrogated for months by the Scientology community after just simply asking one member of the church where the leader's wife was. Like, not if she was alive, just how's she doing, you know? Things ended civilly between the two, with both agreeing that despite the feud and misunderstanding, that it's never too late to heal. Number 8, Nick Cannon. TV personality and full-time baby maker Nick Cannon has been open about his disdain for the series for quite some time, denying multiple requests to appear on the show. But after the show's cancellation last week, Cannon took to Twitter to express his pure joy, stating that the show was toxic and added that there was too much honesty to the program, saying that he just wants to mind his own business and asked that she does the same. He also claimed that if it weren't for his involvement with the program, that husband Will Smith would have never even thought of slapping Chris Rock, and that she somehow stoked the fire that fueled his rage that night. I understand the hate. Red Table Talk got into too much information territory way too many times to be a normal talk show, and Jada seeks out reasons to bring her family on there constantly. Now, I'm all for family drama, but not in front of a camera, being recorded to share for millions of people. I don't need the world to know that. Cannon is no stranger to family drama, but you can just Google that. Number 7, Tom Segura. Comedian Tom Segura was one of many celebrities to speak out after the now infamous Chris Rock incident at the Oscars in 2022. Now, I'll be paraphrasing here as I don't want to just quote a series of bleeps over and over again. That's no fun. So Tom tweeted, "This girl been bald. Jokes about it or her are fine. It was tame AF. You super sensitive about it? Buy a wig." Boom. Roasted. While Pinkett Smith hasn't herself commented on the posts, many fans were really quick to defend Jada, calling the comedian a bully. Now, fans of Segura know his style, and he kept to that, responding to the haters, comparing their sensitivity to a certain member of his anatomy, before posting a video of him landing in New York City and stating, "Just landed in NYC, you dusty, bald-headed female dogs. See you at the show." Personally, I'd love to see Jada and Tom go head-to-head in a roast battle. I would make that a talk show. I'll watch that on Facebook. Number 6, Gabrielle Union. This beef started 17 years ago, a long time to hold a grudge, but what for exactly? Well, they don't know either. Jada brought Gabrielle on the show to address the fact that despite the two always crossing paths and being cold with each other, that they just couldn't remember why. Union called Jada on the phone, and they both attempted to piece together what exactly left such a terrible taste in each other's mouths. They tried and tried and tried, but they just couldn't remember it, and eventually Union agreed to appear on the show, where the two put the past behind them and they were just able to laugh it off, chalking it up to the drama of young divas. They had a good time on the show, just catching up, discussing life, and it actually turned out to be a pretty heartwarming episode. Now, seeing as the show's editors have done their very best to make Jada look good, I will also be including some people who weren't on the show, but were or shared their feelings afterwards, or just had some kind of involvement with her. Number 5, August Alsina. Now, mentioned previously in this list, August Alsina is a rapper and the former love interest of the star of our list, Miss Jada Pinkett Smith. The two first met in 2015 at a concert for Jaden and Willow Smith, and the connection was instant. The two became very good friends as August was going through some substance issues, and Smith was the helpful hand he needed to get through. This would explain why over the time the relationship began to turn romantic after Jada and Will took a brief break from their marriage. Jada wasn't just left alone. She had a shoulder to cry on. August. August told radio host Angela Yee this past June that he truly and really just deeply loved her. Unfortunately for August, Jada thought that it would be a wonderful idea to bring her husband on the show and air out their dirty laundry. So August was revealed as a secret lover, but the Smiths said that they've reached a level of unconditional love within their marriage.
Before being painted as the enemy, August released a statement letting everybody know that I'm always going to be in the driver's seat of my life and control my own narrative. Just steer clear of Will's right hand. It's a bit dangerous. Number 4, Jaden Smith. Another member of the Smith family, Jaden is remembered by many as the little boy from the Karate Kid remake, but he's now mainly known for his rapping and singing chops. Jaden's been living in the shadow of his father from day one, being thrust into the limelight before he even hit double digits. With famous parents comes challenges. One of those challenges seems to be a lack of hugs. Oh, it's sad. The Smith kids are famously left to their own devices and have been financially independent from a very young age, meaning they've never really had to ask mom and dad to help buy something for them or even save money for everything because they've just kind of always had it. They make it themselves now. Who needs them? In an episode of Table Talk, Jaden confronted his mother on the way that he was raised, claiming that their style of parenting ruined his life and his ability to connect with people. Now, Jaden has constantly been a good soul in social media and is extremely loyal to his fan base, so don't worry, man. You've got a massive family out there. It's 1 million strong. Let's just not all try to hug him at once. Number 3, Khloe Kardashian. Khloe Kardashian is an American personality and socialite, according to Wikipedia. Present in the media for years, starring alongside her fellow family members of the hit show Keeping Up with the Kardashians, Khloe released a series of tweets a while back claiming that men blaming women in their relationships for all of their problems was invalid and hurtful. And while this is true, many have called out the star on her comments because of a famous interview from Red Table Talk, which is Jordyn Woods. Jordyn Woods came forward and told the truth about an alleged cheating scandal. The man in question, Tristan Thompson, claimed that Jordyn performed a number of provocative acts, but she denies many of these claims. Despite this, Khloe publicly blamed Jordyn for the entire breakup of her family and names her as the enemy every time. But during all this, Jada Smith just sat back and watched the drama unfold instead of having anything to do with it. So, yeah, that's kind of worse than what Khloe did. Just saying. Help. Number 2, Chris Rock. In 2022, Chris Rock was hosting the 94th annual Oscars ceremony, where he decided to make a little joke about Jada Pinkett Smith and her hair loss. Immediately following the joke, which landed for everybody else in the audience, okay, Will Smith stood up, walked on stage, and just clocked Chris right in the face. Now, initially being seen as a planned joke or something between the two, Will then started shouting several times at Rock to keep his wife's name out his mouth. Chris handled the situation well, getting back onto the festivities and just kind of helping the night move on and making it seem like nothing happened. But after Smith won the Oscar for Best Performance, Rock took to social media to address the controversy and let everybody know that he meant no harm, and he felt the response Will had was highly extreme. He also claims that if Jada had found the joke funny, that nothing would have happened. In fact, moments before walking on stage, you can actually see Will Smith giggle. Like, it's almost like she whispered at him, like, get him, and it activated some kind of kill code or destruction code, and he just went for it. Jada posted several videos claiming that Rock was dragging the situation out too long and to put the past behind them, but I'm sorry, Smith family, there's no Men in Black mind erasers here, okay? Chris Rock can still hear the ringing in his ears today. Come on. Number 1, Sheree Fletcher. Let me guess, you don't recognize that name. Well, only hardcore Will Smith fans would, because Sheree is Will's ex-wife. Briefly married in the mid-90s, Will and Sheree were adorable together. They were regularly appearing at red carpet events, movie premieres, just adorable, inseparable, wonderful. But behind the screen, things weren't all peachy. It was revealed on an episode of Red Table that Jada Pinkett briefly partook in an affair with Will in 1995. Now, Jada claims that Sheree and Will were towards the end of their relationship and was simply, in her eyes, dating a newly divorced man. But she would later admit that technically that wasn't the case, and while Will was technically divorced hadn't really come into play yet, Sheree discovered what was taking place and went off on the couple. Not long after that, ended her marriage with Will Smith. And in 2018, the two got back together to speak candidly about the incident on Red Table. Definitely an episode worth checking out.
First up, we have Zach Galifianakis. The 2009 movie The Hangover catapulted Bradley Cooper to A-list status, and its subsequent sequels only helped to cement his place as Hollywood royalty. But despite starring alongside some well-liked comedians, Cooper and his co-stars apparently had some behind-the-scenes tension that came to the surface when a promotional event for The Hangover 3 in Brazil went badly after Zach Galifianakis refused to attend. The gossip behind the scenes is that there was a disagreement between the team the night before the event. Although it's unclear what the disagreement was about, Glamorama magazine also reported the stars were 3 hours late and branded Bradley as a diva. However, according to Page 6, the drama was actually down to a much simpler reason, which Warner Brothers confirmed in a press release. Zach Galifianakis is apparently afraid of heights, and the movie's press conference was on a peak in Brazil. An insider reportedly told Page 6 that, quote, the only way to get up there was by cable car, so Zach didn't personally appear, although he called into the press conference to let participants know and made a few jokes. Next up, we have Zoe Saldana. Bradley Cooper and Zoe dated on and off from 2011 to 2012 after meeting on the set of The Words. A source confirmed to E! News that the couple broke up just before New Year's Eve, seeing in 2013 separately. And even though they worked together since on the Guardians of the Galaxy, it seems as though there's no love lost between them. Saldana moved on just months later and was first spotted with her now husband, artist Marco Perego, in May 2013. The reason it's thought that Cooper and Saldana's relationship ended badly is because the actress told Marie Claire in 2014, quote, I've been in relationships where a man has disrespected me, and I don't need to be friends with that man anymore. There's a reason why you're called an ex. You cross a line. You need to know that you're going to walk this earth knowing that there's an individual who has no respect for you. Granted, Zoe didn't specifically name Bradley as the ex, but according to Us Weekly, the Avatar star was only romantically linked to one other person who she was with 11 years prior to hooking up with Cooper. Next up, we have Yolanda Hadid. Yolanda's daughter Gigi Hadid and Bradley have been dating for nearly a year now, but the supermodel mom doesn't seem to be pleased with any of Gigi's love interests. When Gigi was dating Zayn Malik from One Direction, there was constant drama between the mom and Zayn. The former One Direction singer was charged with 4 counts of harassment after an incident in September 2021, which he allegedly, quote, grabbed Yolanda and shoved her into a dresser at their Pennsylvania home. Reports also claim that Zayn got caught in an alleged dispute with Yolanda in which she claimed the singer, quote, struck her. Gigi has had many A-lister boyfriends before Bradley that include Leo DiCaprio, Cody Simpson, Joe Jonas, and even Lewis Hamilton. Next up, let's discuss the drama between Bradley and Barbra Streisand. While most people are pretty happy about the latest remake of A Star Is Born, one person was apparently mad about not being offered a part in the movie. According to a report in The Express, as the lead in the 1976 version of A Star Is Born, Barbra Streisand wanted a cameo in Bradley Cooper's update, but the director, Bradley, was not receptive. Per a so-called friend of Barbra, the superstar feels offended that nobody seemed to even want to acknowledge her, let alone take any of her advice. However, speaking to the New York Times in October 2018, Barbra made it clear that Cooper had been in touch with her about the movie and had even shown her a clip before its release. When asked if she'd seen the movie yet, Barbra replied, I haven't seen it completed. Bradley did show me the opening. I was surprised by how similar it was to my version. While her initial comments could be construed as shade, Barbra noted some things she really liked about what she'd seen so far. I love how he used the drag bar. Thought that was new and interesting. What I've seen of the film I really liked, but we sadly might never know if the superstar is secretly salty about not scoring a role in the remake. Next up, we have Jennifer Esposito, Bradley's ex and only wife. Jennifer and Bradley got engaged in 2006, and their wedding took place in France just 2 months later in December 21st, 2006. The stars were married for 4 short months, and there's still a lot of mystery surrounding their quick courtship. In a 2011 interview with Howard Stern, Cooper called the marriage just something that happened, and that he and Esposito ultimately figured out it just wasn't right. Meanwhile, Esposito once described a certain relationship gone wrong, which was widely rumored to be about Bradley in her book, Jennifer's Way. I should have noticed the red flags from the beginning. Actually, there were more like an entire marching band squad of red flags, but I ignored them. He was funny, smart, cocky, arrogant, and a master manipulator. He also had a mean, cold side. His personality could flip on a dime. Within days, my relationship hit an all-time low, and within a week, it was over. Abruptly, rudely, and with the exact callousness that I'd come to expect from him, but this time, I did nothing but agree to end it. Next up, we have Jennifer Lawrence. While Jennifer Lawrence and Bradley Cooper have worked together on several occasions and appear to be friends in real life, there's apparently one thing she cannot stand about him. During an appearance on BBC's The Graham Norton Show on May 23rd, 2013, Bradley revealed that following an on-screen kiss, Jennifer told him, "You're a wet kisser." Cooper joked that her review of his kissing technique hurt his feelings, explaining, "You never want to hear that. It was not a compliment." Next up, we have Nico Case. American musician Nico Case, definitely not a fan of Bradley or his directorial debut, and she's not afraid to say so. In a series of tweets posted in September 2018, Case made it clear she didn't like the newest version of A Star Is Born or its leading man and director, Bradley Cooper. Case is known for her solo music and her work with her new band, and much of her criticism with The Wedding Crashers star seems to be related to his portrayal of a musician in the movie. As she wrote on Twitter, Bradley Cooper is the beige demon who makes sure very standard white dudes get to be in everything. He turns a scene to damp sugar quicksand with his treacly fingers and convinces you his vile incantations are him speaking some adorable French. I will fight him. Stand back. As if her initial tweet wasn't strong enough, she followed it up with a statement, quote, "The trailer sent me off a very unreasonable cliff," which is pretty self-explanatory. As if that wasn't enough, Case also then tweeted, "I want to vomit into Bradley's dewy man-child eyes. F off." Wow. Bradley's ex, Irina Shayk, has some honest things to say about why her and Bradley broke up after 4 years of dating and also having a daughter together. Bradley Cooper and Irina have reportedly split because the supermodel wanted more commitment from him. Irina decided to end her relationship with Bradley at the end of 2019 because she was reportedly fed up, grueling work schedule. A source told Entertainment Tonight, Irina truly had high hopes for their future together and felt once the baby was born they would find the time to marry, but it never came fruition. She wanted more from Bradley in every single way, but she was unhappy and felt he spent too much time working. Recently, Irina decided enough is enough. She didn't feel that she was getting the level of commitment she wanted, and the endless fighting made their life unbearable. They're very different people, and once they realized it was the baby that was holding them together, it was time to call it quits. Bradley is also getting the heat online for the way he directed Maestro, the life of Leonard Bernstein. In an interview with Spike Lee for Variety, Cooper said, quote, "When we shoot the movie, no one is allowed on set," for clarifying that producer Steven Spielberg was the only exception. Steven Spielberg came 3 times, but other than him, there's no one. It has to be a sanctuary. "But when I direct, I don't watch playback," he also said. "There are no chairs. Always hated chairs on sets. Your energy dips the moment you sit down in a chair." His comments sparked some serious backlash online. For Bradley Cooper and everybody else who needs to hear it, you'll get the best work out of people when they feel safe, included, and that their needs are met. You have to create harsh conditions to get people to work. You're simply not good at leading. It's a skill issue, wrote one person on X. "Sorry, but completely able-bodied people are not performing at their best when they've been standing 14 hours, another person wrote. Lastly, let's discuss his recent Maestro interview that did not go over well with fans. "He was with me, certainly, throughout the entire time. His energy has somehow found its way way to me, and I really do feel like I know him, Bradley Cooper, referring to Leonard Bernstein. Bradley reportedly never met Leonard though, as he died in 1990. One user commented on Reddit saying, "This man is so cringe." Another remarked, "I really don't like him at all. He's the most overrated actor out there." First off, we have Keyshia Cole. In 2013, when Beyoncé released Bow Down, one of the people who were not pleased with her was fellow singer Keyshia Cole. In a series of tweets, Cole called Beyoncé out. "I can't stand when people are all self-righteous when it's convenient and it makes them good. First, women need to stick together. This girl better bow down," Cole tweeted, alleging that Beyoncé was being hypocritical. Next up, we have Donald Trump, former president of the United States. Donald Trump is not in the good books of many celebs, Beyoncé included. In 2016, when he was running for office, he didn't have most celebrities' support. And if his 2019 Minneapolis rally speech is anything to go by, he didn't need them apparently. At the rally, Trump sent some words in the direction of Beyoncé, Jay-Z, and even Bruce Springsteen, who rallied behind Hillary Clinton. "I didn't need Beyoncé and Jay-Z. I didn't need little Bruce Springsteen," Trump said. "I really like Jay-Z, but there is trouble in paradise. When his wife's sister starts whacking him, it's not good. No help from Beyoncé leads to a mess," is another quote Trump said in 2014 after Solange Knowles, Beyoncé's sister, was caught attacking Jay-Z in an elevator after he was allegedly caught cheating on Beyoncé. But why are we caring about what Donald Trump says anyway when he has said mean things to nearly every single celebrity out there? Years ago, when discussing Angelina Jolie, Trump said, quote, "I'm not saying she's an unattractive woman, but she's not beauty by any stretch of the imagination. And now she's like a representative of the United Nations and world peace on hunger and all this crap. It's called give me a break. But she's not, in terms of beauty, she's not a great beauty. She's okay, but she's not a great beauty. I really understand beauty. I do own Miss Universe. I own Miss USA." Wow. In the history of every negative comment said about Beyoncé, perhaps Carlos Santana's words reign supreme, and not in a good way. In an interview with the New Zealand Herald, Santana said, "I think Adele won a Grammy because she can sing. With all respect to our sister Beyoncé, Beyoncé is very beautiful to look at, and it's more a modeling kind of music. She's not a singer. One-hit wonder Kia, known for her 2001 My Neck, My Back, had some things to get off her chest following the release of Beyoncé's Lemonade. First of all, the video was tired, she says, and through and long, and it made black people look bad as hell. You're walking around with this blonde hair, but you want African kings and queens in your videos? Interesting. Our next point is not about a celebrity, but about a movement that believes Beyoncé is associated with the Illuminati and is trying to take down America. Beyoncé and her husband Jay-Z have long been the subject of conspiracy theories and wild fantasies. The idea is that the two are members of the Illuminati and are secretly ushering a revolution, a new world order, brainwashing the public through music videos and dance routines. Untangling the complexities of the Illuminati conspiracy would require its own video, but in a nutshell, conspiracy theorists allege that the world is run by an ancient cabal of cultists who communicate through secret signals, sometimes concealed within music videos. It's a bit weird that these supposedly all-powerful people can't just speak privately or send text messages to one another, but that is essentially the idea. For several years, Jay-Z has, during his performances, made a hand signal that forms a triangle. This is supposedly meant to represent a diamond and has been synonymous with Jay-Z and his record label. Occasionally, Beyoncé will also flash the hand signal, likely in support of her husband. Thus, conspiracy theorists believe that Jay-Z's iconic hand signal is secretly signaling his devotion to the Illuminati. It's no secret that Jay-Z is a bit of a ladies' man. He's been in the spotlight, so his relationships have had some light shown on them as well. Blue Cantrell was one of his most widely talked about exes, and she definitely threw some shade when she made comments about the connection between her name and that of Beyoncé's daughter, Blue Ivy. Her sarcastic comment about how she, quote, loved their child's name raised a few eyebrows and surely ruffled Beyoncé's Beyonce's feathers. In 2003, Blue Cantrell launched a blistering attack on chart rival Beyonce, claiming the Destiny's Child beauty was, quote, ripping me off. Cantrell was fuming after hearing Beyonce's 2003 single Baby Boy because she believed it was far too similar to her own #1 hit, Breathe. Both songs are edgy R&B tunes featuring dancehall star Sean Paul. She moans, Beyonce is talented and beautiful and I'm a fan, but she has a song out which is really similar to mine. She uses words which are in the hook of my song, and if she's that talented, she wouldn't have to copy somebody else. Her song Baby Boy has the exact word breathe in the hook. She's ripping me off, but there is no animosity because I'm a really positive person. However, I'm a little disappointed because she is established and didn't have to do that, but she won't get away with plagiarizing me because I am a #1 artist. Blue's anger is increased because Beyonce chose to use Sean Paul in her song as well, and she reckoned that his presence was a direct dig at her. She added, now she is doing a song with Sean Paul because I'm linked with Sean Paul, so I don't know what her intentions are. I'm not tit for tat like that. I don't waste my time sitting around trying to think about what Beyonce is thinking. Next up, we have megastar Taylor Swift. Queen Bee's fans accused the Me singer of copying Beyonce's 2018 Coachella set with her performance at the Billboard Music Awards in 2019, both of which heavily featured drum lines and very similar choreography. I see Taylor Swift is doing the great value version of Beyonce's Homecoming, one Twitter user joked. But Beyonce is not the only celebrity that Taylor has allegedly ripped off. After Taylor released Shake It Off, she was met with a lawsuit after another band accused her of stealing their song. The lawsuit was filed by Sean Hall and Nathan Butler, the songwriters behind Players Gonna Play, a 2000s track by the R&B group 3LW that contains the lines, Players they gonna play, and haters they gonna hate. They accused Swift of using those lines without permission or credit on Shake It Off, which was released in 2014 and became one of her defining hits, notching 4 weeks at #1 on the Billboard chart. After Taylor released her album Red, singer Matt Nathanson claims that Taylor stole many lyrics from his music. One of Swift's songs from her album Red, entitled All Too Well, includes the line, and I forget about you long enough to forget why I needed to, which Nathanson claims is more or less the same as a part of his 2003 song I Saw, and I'll forget about you long enough to forget why I need to. Almost identical lyrics. He tweeted about the coincidence but has since deleted the message. Nathanson returned to Twitter to share his thoughts after and said, so far my favorite thing about today is the wave of Taylor Swift fans calling me a prick on Twitter for writing my song I Saw in 2003. Taylor is a self-proclaimed fan of Nathan's and has been seen at some of his concerts with lyrics to his music written on her arms. In a now deleted tweet, Nathanson wrote, quote, she's definitely a fan and now she's a thief. Now back to Beyonce. Our next Beyonce hater is 50 Cent. 50 Cent has never come out and said the words I hate Beyonce, but during multiple interviews over the years, the rapper has implied he's not the biggest fan of Queen Bee or her husband, Jay-Z. Speaking to People in 2015, 50 Cent defended the Grammys' decision to award Album of the Year to Beck over Beyonce, saying Beck produced his record, he wrote the record. There's 11 producers on Beyonce's album. That is a fair analysis and not necessarily an insult, but let's dig a little deeper. A year prior, as Beyonce and Jay-Z tried to move on from leaked security footage showing Beyonce's sister Solange attacking Jay-Z in an elevator, 50 Cent publicly recalled a time Beyonce allegedly confronted him inside a Las Vegas nightclub. One time Beyonce jumped off a ledge and came running over because she thought me and Jay had issues, he told radio station Power 105.1, and I'm like, what the F? Did she really just jump and run up on me like that? She bugged out at me. Next up, we have Sana Lathan, who apparently bit Beyonce at a party. You heard that right, she bit Beyonce. Although Sana denies this, she also said she is not bothered by the rumors linking her to the hashtag #WhoBitBeyonce movement. The actress appeared on the cover of Health magazine years ago, where she broke her silence on how she felt about the reports that she allegedly was the actress who bit Beyonce at a Jay-Z concert after party. The wild story gained a a lot of steam in the media when Tiffany Haddish recalled her version of the events, but refused to name the attacker. "I think it's the most absurd thing I've ever been involved with," Sonia told the magazine. "Thank God I've been in this business for 20 years and I've had so many rumors about me. They used to devastate me in my 20s, but in order to survive in this business, you just have to let it roll." Lastly, we have Kid Rock. The born free and cowboy rocker threw some serious shade at Beyoncé in an interview with Rolling Stone, published years ago after the release of his album First Kiss. He told the music magazine that he is flabbergasted by the attention Beyoncé receives. "Beyoncé to me doesn't have an effing purple rain, but she's the biggest thing on earth," he says. "How can you be that big without at least one Sweet Home Alabama? People are like, Beyoncé's hot. She's got a nice..." I'm like, cool, well I like skinny white chicks. Doesn't really effing do much for me. Beyoncé has not responded to Kid Rock's offensive remarks. However, the Beehive, Beyoncé's fans, have taken action to defend their Grammy-winning queen in a way only the Beehive would, by flooding his Instagram page with bee emojis. And then Kid Rock posted a photo of bee repellent.
At number 10, we have Margot Robbie. Margot and Cara were friends long before they became co-stars for their 2016 film Suicide Squad. Their initial introductions were done at a formal party they both attended. When speaking about how they met, Margot told E.T., "When the waitress asked, 'Would you like water? Would you like champagne?' I said, 'God, I want a tequila.' Cara, who I'd never met before, was about 5 meters away from me, and her ears just pricked up and she said, 'Did someone say tequila?' I was like, 'You and I are so going to be best friends.'" Since then, Margot has expressed her deepest genuine love for Cara, so it comes without a doubt that further concerns were raised when Margot seemed to be struggling to keep her composure while she left her bestie's $7 million West Hollywood home on September 12th. It was midday during the occurrence when Margot appeared to be gloomy and wiping tears as she clutched a bag with reported toiletries prior to her jumping into an awaited car to head to LA's International Airport. It's still unknown if Cara was home while Margot was visiting. Margot's pop-up took place just under a month since the duo celebrated Cara's 30th birthday in Spain with their other close friends and loved ones. If you haven't yet, smash that subscribe button for more regularly updated celebrity content. At number 9, we have Poppy Delevingne. Cara's sister Poppy, who's based in London, was reported to have also visited Cara's home over that same weekend, with further media news releasing pieces that stated the socialite rushed to be with her sister because she was worried about her well-being amid the public incidents blended in with her no-show events. Apparently, when reporters asked how the model was nowadays, Poppy updated them about Cara's current state by informing them that Cara is doing fine. The sisters share an incredibly close bond, and Cara was Poppy's only bridesmaid in her wedding with her husband James Cook back in 2014. The two even launched their own sibling wine brand with their other sister Khloe in 2020. As children, Cara was said to have slept in Poppy's bed for years, and that Poppy played an integral part in helping raise Cara, as their mother Pandora was a struggling addict before their birth with a later diagnosis of a medical condition called bipolar disorder. At number 8, we have Sienna Miller. Sienna is one of Cara's closest friends, apparently because of her older sister. It was stated that Poppy and Sienna lived together in New York a short while after leaving school. Cara and Sienna have had strings of conversations circulating about them regarding the club kiss they shared at the beginning of the year. Allegedly, an onlooker informed Page Six in January, quote, "It was like fluid friends. Sienna made out with this tall guy and then she made out with Cara. It was like a fun night out." Additionally, an insider with claims of knowing both celebs even chimed in that the duo have been longtime friends who enjoy a thrilling time together. So as a whole, they are a fun pair. Sienna was also another close pal who joined Cara's 30th birthday celebrations in Ibiza last month. At number 7, we have Megan Thee Stallion. Now, I'm sure you all know what's coming, but let's get into it anyway because it might not be as crazy as you think. We all remember when Megan reposted that cropped pic of her and Doja at the BMAs that was notably missing Cara, who was seated in between them at the time. Well, online users quickly went in on Cara's quirky red carpet behavior with Megan, where the supposed, quote, stalking first started. The rest of the events played out accordingly too, with fans taking notice that Cara actually attended the event with Megan, but was not being subtle about her stealing peeks at Megan as the rapper walked the carpet and took photos. At one point, Cara lifted Megan's dress in the air and tossed it, possibly hoping to help her get a solid shot. However, there was also her tongue out in Megan's face when she won the Best Artist award for the music show. Fans alluded that Megan attempted to escape Cara the entire night through various memes. Realistically though, the pair may actually be great friends, and Cara was merely excited for Megan as she, the rapper, and Doja Cat were all animatedly chatting throughout the night. There was even a video shared by Billboard of one of their particularly interesting looking conversations. Furthermore, Megan called Cara her model itch, so the resharing itself could have been very well harmless in the the end. At number 6, we have Selena Gomez. This actress has a matching tattoo with her Brit bestie, and she revealed the meaning behind it through her virtual interview on Live with Kelly and Ryan. According to Selena, Cara had such a profound impact on her life that she dedicated the rose tattoo to their bond, proving that their friendship is truly tight-knit. Selena is known for her matching tattoos, as she has multiple with other important people in her life, like her mother and her best friends. The news of her and Cara's tattoos came from a short clip that was featured on the tattoo artist's Instagram. The 11-second video of Cara was uploaded hours following the post of Selena, where Cara got hers on her ribcage and Selena got hers on her back. These gal pals' friendship goes back many years, ever since they starred in the Bad Blood music video by Taylor Swift together. Their relationship further solidified itself when the duo went on Selena's end-of-the-year family vacation on the outskirts of Dallas in 2014. Most recently, the stars were reunited through their co-starring in the second season of the comedy drama series Only Murders in the Building. Naturally, with such a tight friendship, it's safe to assume that Selena is quite worried about her bestie. At number 5, we have Jay-Z. Jay-Z surely must be concerned over the fact that the British supermodel wound up kicked off his private plane, right? The incident recently took place at Los Angeles International Airport, where reports stated Cara's demeanor was messy and jittery. Paparazzi pictures of the actress circulated the internet, which displayed Cara twirling wildly with no shoes on and undone hair with bruises on her arms. At the time, she was wearing a Britney Spears tee, and the public has since linked Britney's former 2007 breakdown, due to the pressures of being a Hollywood star, to the one they believe Cara may also soon experience. Prior to this, Cara was also captured looking zoned out, smoking a pipe, and dropping liquid from a clear bottle into her mouth in front of an adult store, as well as standing on top of a vehicle while partying in Ibiza for her birthday. At number 4, we have Rihanna. Rihanna and Cara used to be pretty close back in the day. With Rihanna being the it girl and fashion trendsetter, it makes sense that this very thing connected her to one of her besties. They met at a fashion show in 2012 and quickly became fast friends who shared a super close bond. In their several years of knowing and working together, they've done a lot. This includes their 2017 film appearance in Valerian in the City of a Thousand Planets. However, the movie was reported to have tanked at the box office. Despite this though, the modeling pair were excited about working together at the time. Although not much has been reported about them in current days, one can assume that Rihanna could be pretty worried over the behavior Cara has been reportedly displaying over the past few weeks. At number 3, we have Taylor Swift. When it boils down to Taylor's relationship with Cara, their friendship has never wavered. As a matter of fact, Cara told Variety that she and Taylor once lived together, and that Taylor has been a constant support in her life over the years. In 2019, Cara could not stop gushing about Taylor's song You Need to Calm Down. When she spoke with Variety about it, she stated, "What Taylor is doing is brilliant." Cara further praised Taylor for being a vocal advocate for the LGBTQ+ community in her time, as somewhat of a nod to how vocal Cara has been about her own sexuality. Cara has also stated that she was super moved by the message of support, that she shed tears when she first listened to the song. When Taylor dropped her Folklore album in 2020, Cara was right there to support her. She posted an Instagram story with her in one of Taylor's promotional cardigans. According to Taylor, Cara's unwavering, genuine support for her has not gone unnoticed. In fact, Taylor solidified Cara's loyalty to her as early as 2019, when she was mid-deep in the mess of her Scooter Braun music purchasing issue. At the time, Justin Bieber was reportedly in the defense of Scooter when he posted an open letter about the situation to Instagram, and Cara jumped to Taylor's side to share her thoughts. In screenshots posted by Teen Vogue, Cara blasted Justin's upload with, "I wish you spent less time sticking up for men and more time trying to understand women and respecting their valid reactions. Take a step back and try to learn from this. We should all be on the same team, end of story." And this spicy clapback was only the start for Cara, as she later shared the screenshot of the exchange of Justin's IG page to her story, with a caption of "Love you at Taylor Swift," once her comments were revealed to have been removed. At number 2, we have Adjira Boa. Adjira and Cara's relationship blossomed through their time as teen models. In 2017, during a joint interview, the pair admitted that they weren't entirely sure when their first official introductions to one another took place. Adjira stated, "You were walking around on the street in London in a cardboard box," when she recalled one of her earliest memories of Cara. When they sat down with Glamour to do some more reminiscing, the lifelong pals joked about their time as friends, which included their first trip to the Burning Man Festival, where they were supposedly driven to the event by a blind pregnant woman, as Cara described, among many other events. Quote, "People call us model best friends, but we were friends before. What I've always been grateful for in our friendship is that we expect absolutely nothing from each other, just friendship." Just like Selena and Cara, these two also have matching tattoos to symbolize their close relationship, but theirs are halves of a red inked heart on their hands. At number 1, we have Lady Mary Chartreuse. Both actors' upbringings hail from pretty privileged backgrounds, so it's not much of a surprise that Cara obtains a few aristocratic friends of her own. Still, she and Poppy have been gal pals with Mary for many years years now. Mary is the daughter of the Earl of Weems and the niece of Daphne and Guinness, and has most recently posed with Cara at a high society beauty charity fundraising event earlier this year in May. Mary has been sober ever since 2018, but this didn't stop her from accompanying Cara and her other celebrity besties in Ibiza for Cara's elaborate 30th birthday festivities. However, this could mean Cara's most recent behavior could be especially concerning for Mary.
First off, we have Wendy Williams. When Beyoncé was set to release her HBO special, Life is But a Dream, Wendy Williams was quick to say, quote, "I am a Beyoncé fan, and I'm gonna watch her upcoming documentary, because fortunately, one of the TVs in our kitchen has closed captioning, so I'll be able to understand what she says." The audience began laughing nervously before Williams went in for the kill. You know, Beyoncé can't talk. She sounds like she has a 5th grade education, she says. This did not go over so well with Wendy's audience, who responded with several boos. "Excuse me, I just said I was a fan," she says, "but we have to call a spade a spade." Williams' comments did not go over well with the Beyoncé fans. It was also picked up by several media outlets who reported on Williams' commentary. Next up, we have Azealia Banks. Azealia has a lot to say about everything and anything, except her own music, that apparently is not doing too well. In 2016, following the release of Beyoncé's award-winning album Lemonade, Azealia was quick to respond to writer Ta-Nehisi Coates' praise of Beyoncé's work. "I don't think for a second that Beyoncé was intelligent enough to come up with any of those ideas on her own," she tweeted. But there's an update on the Azealia Banks Beyoncé drama, as just a few weeks ago, Azealia made another comment about her. Beyoncé announced details of her new album, Renaissance Act 2, during the Super Bowl, and as soon as the advertisement concluded, Beyoncé released the project's first 2 songs, Texas Hold'em and 16 Carriages, and the banjo twang of the former and the slow pacing of the latter both seem to confirm ongoing speculation that Beyoncé was planning on releasing a country album. Now, Azealia Banks has spoken up, warning her fellow performer that she was making a huge mistake. In an Instagram stories post, she said about the new material, quote, "Nothing country about it. You're setting yourself up to be ridiculed again. There's a theatrical element to country music. The critics are not going to accept an ugly blonde wig and bullying from Jay-Z. It's giving big-time musical grift. Yes, black girls can make country music," she continued, "but you're just really not hitting the button." Our next point is not about a celebrity, but actually about a movement that's insane. There's a movement going around for the last decade that believes that Beyoncé is associated with the Illuminati and is trying to take down America. Beyoncé and her husband Jay-Z have long been the subject of conspiracy theories and wild fantasies. The idea is that the two are members of the Illuminati and are secretly ushering a revolution, a new world order, and brainwashing the public through their music videos and dance routines. Untangling the complexities of the Illuminati conspiracy would require its own video, but in a nutshell, conspiracy theorists allege that the world is run by an ancient cabal of cultists who communicate through secret signals, sometimes concealed within the music videos. But it's a bit weird that these supposedly all-powerful celebs can't just speak privately or send text messages to, but essentially that is the idea. For several years, Jay-Z has, during his performances, made a hand signal that forms a triangle. This is supposedly meant to represent a diamond and has become synonymous with Jay-Z and his record label. Occasionally, though, Beyoncé will also flash this hand signal, likely in support of her husband. Thus, conspiracy theorists believe that both Jay-Z and Beyoncé are in the Illuminati. Next up, let's discuss Beyoncé's fake pregnancy. TMZ alleged that Beyoncé's 2011 pregnancy was fake. I know it sounds insane, but in 2011, the internet was buzzing with rumors that Beyoncé was not really pregnant and that she was wearing a fake stomach in an elaborate cover-up scheme. A controversial video actually went viral online, and that even fueled the fire more. Beyoncé appeared on an Australian TV show called Sunday Night wearing a tight red dress that accentuated her baby bump. But when she sits down in her chair, her baby bump appears to collapse inward, leading many to believe that it's not her real stomach after all, but a prosthetic device intended to deceive. But why would she be fake pregnant? There were rumors that she had hired a surrogate mother to carry the kid, so she didn't have to put her body through the strains of being pregnant. Next up, we have Kid Rock. The born free and cowboy singer threw some serious shade at Beyoncé in an interview with Rolling Stone, published a few years ago after the release of his new album, First Kiss. He told Rolling Stone he is, quote, flabbergasted by the attention she receives. Beyoncé to me doesn't have an effing purple rain, but she's the biggest thing on earth, he says. How can you be that big without at least one Sweet Home Alabama? People are like, Beyoncé's hot. She got a nice butt. I'm like, cool. I like skinny white chicks. Doesn't really do much to me. Beyoncé has not responded to Kid Rock's very offensive remarks. However, the Beyoncé fans have taken action to defend their Grammy Award-winning queen in a way only Beyoncé fans could, by flooding Kid Rock's Instagram page with bee emojis. And then Kid Rock posted a photo of bee repellent. Yikes. Next up, we have Piers Morgan. When Beyoncé released Lemonade in 2016, Azalea Banks was not the only celebrity who wasn't pleased with her. In a Daily Mail article, Piers Morgan criticized Beyoncé by calling her militant. In a tweet sharing the article, Morgan said, quote, I prefer the old Beyoncé, the one who didn't use grieving mothers to shift records and further fill her already massively enriched purse. Morgan also recalls interviewing Beyoncé at President Barack Obama's inaugural ball and meeting a very bright, warm, funny, sharp star that pains to be seen as an entertainer and musician and not as a black woman who sings. He remembers the singer when asked if she ever experienced racism in her childhood, saying, I feel with my career I've broken barriers. I don't think people think about my race anymore. Now it seems to be the complete opposite, Piers says. The new Beyoncé wants to be seen as a black woman activist first and foremost, and then entertainer and musician second. He then questions Beyoncé's intentions for showing the grieving mothers of Mike Brown and Trayvon Martin in her video for Lemonade, contending that both women were exploited to promote the album. Next up, let's discuss Solange Knowles, Beyoncé's sister. In a viral video years and years ago, Solange was seen hitting Beyoncé's husband Jay-Z in an elevator after he allegedly cheated on Beyoncé. Jay-Z's album 444 alluded to him being unfaithful. He wrote, look, I apologize. I often womanize. Took for my child to be born to see through a woman's eyes. The rapper and Beyoncé had planned to do a joint album years ago, but ended up doing solo records instead. We were using our art almost like a therapy session, and we started making music together. And then the music that she was making at the time was further along, so her album came out as opposed to the joint album that we were working on. Next up, we have 50 Cent. 50 Cent has never come out and said the words I hate Beyoncé, but during multiple interviews over the years, the rapper has implied he's not the biggest fan of Queen Bee or her husband Jay-Z. Speaking to People in 2015, 50 Cent defended the Grammys' decision to award Album of the Year to Beck over Beyoncé's album, saying Beck produced his own record. He wrote it. There's 11 producers on Beyoncé's album. That is a fair analysis and not necessarily an insult, but let's dig a little deeper. A year prior, as Beyoncé and Jay-Z tried to move on from leaked security footage showing Beyoncé's sister Solange attacking Jay-Z in an elevator, 50 Cent publicly recalled a time Beyoncé allegedly confronted him inside a Las Vegas nightclub. One time, Beyoncé jumped off of a ledge and came running over because she thought me and Jay-Z were having issues, he told a radio station. And I'm like, what the F? Did she really just bump and run up on me like that? She bugged out at me. Next up, we have Etta James. Beyoncé earned arguably the best reviews of her entire movie career playing legendary singer Etta James in the 2008 flick Cadillac Records. She even attended the Los Angeles premiere of the movie with Etta James, suggesting that the two were on friendly terms, at least professionally. Apparently, this was not the case. During a 2009 concert, Etta James, who died in 2012, made it very, very clear she was not happy about Beyoncé singing her iconic 1961 song At Last at President Barack Obama's inaugural ball in 2008. I tell you, that woman he had singing for him, singing my song, she's gonna get her butt whipped, she says. The great Beyoncé, I cannot stand her. Etta James said Beyoncé has, quote, no business being up there singing on a big ol' President Day and singing my song that I have been singing forever. Lastly, we have Rihanna, who allegedly has some beef with Queen Bee. Apparently, the work York singer wants Jay-Z back, and that is why she is casting some shade. Rihanna and Jay-Z have known one another since 2004, when the young singer from Barbados was called into the offices at Def Jam Recordings, where Jay-Z worked as the president. Rihanna has since admitted to being incredibly nervous about meeting him, and told The Guardian in 2007 she didn't actually get nervous until she was face to face with the man who would change her life. As she put it, I was like, oh God, he's right there. I can't look. I can't look. Before Beyoncé married Jay-Z, Rihanna and him were constantly seen in paparazzi photos looking pretty cozy with each other.
Number 10, 50 Cent. Jada and her entanglement with August Alsina was news that shocked the entire world when it was revealed on Red Table Talk. For 50 Cent, this was the most annoying thing that he's ever had to deal with in his entire life. Following the revelation, social media users were flocking to Instagram, sharing their opinions and messages with their friends, including 50 Cent. He contacted Will Smith, his buddy, and ended up cursing him out. 50 asked him why Jada said that on a show for the world to see, adding that she said only she can give permission for someone to blow her back out. I'm not really sure what that means, like with an air pump? Will responded with more swearing, and in October of 2021, 50 decided to comment on the marriage again, having the exact same issue that a ton of people are having with this woman. Jada is picking and choosing her moments to make things happen. She's revealing information about her book because it's stirring the pot. If you watch the interview where she revealed all this information, you can actually see her just kind of like zoning out and faking her way through the entire interaction. All the while she's just maniacally laughing in her head. Just 50 posted on his Instagram asking Jada why she had to share her life story with the entire world when it just calls her character into question every single time. Number 9, Will Smith. If there's anyone on this planet that has the right to not like Jada Pinkett Smith, it's her estranged husband, Will Smith. Seeing as they've secretly been separated for 7 years, he surely holds some tinge of frustration towards Jada. This man has endured public humiliation several times, both caused by him and by Jada. And in this past week alone, Jada has revealed so much information about her marriage to Will and what's really been going on behind the scenes. Not only were they separated, but it's been revealed that she was in love with the late rapper Tupac Shakur. Yeah, Will has been blindsided by all this information and is taking it as well as he can. Jada's book isn't even out yet, and this man is already stressed out, so of course he's starting to truly hate Jada. Number 8, Stacey Dash. Stacey started her career just like Will Smith, in a small project in the 1990s. For Will, it was Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and for Stacey, it was Clueless. But as Will got into movies, Stacey made a move into the world of politics. When Will and Jada announced that they were boycotting the Oscars in 2016, Dash was front and center in the crowd of confused people. Stacey went on air to share her views, which made sense. The issue that Jada and Will had with that year's event, for those of you who don't remember, was that there were no people of color nominated for an Oscar in a majority of the categories. So Will and Jada, along with a lot of other people, announced they'd be boycotting the event. Stacey called Jada's choice questionable because the real issue for her was not that there was no nominees, but that Hollywood hadn't given a lot of people of color the opportunity to even perform in leading roles that year. As the years went by, more and more opportunities have arisen, and as we all know, Will Smith eventually won an Oscar. Real Cinderella story. Get this guy some glass slippers. To summarize, Jada Smith bad, and she is not allowed in the Oscars anymore. Number 7, Gabrielle Union. Gabrielle and Jada collided several times on the red carpet over the years, as their careers would often intertwine with each other. Now, you might know Gabrielle from Bring It On or Meet Dave, and you may want to forget Jada Smith from Scream 2 and The Nutty Professor. However, when they were together, there was just this awkward vibe. Apparently, Jada did not speak to Gabrielle for 17 years of their interactions, and both of them couldn't remember what caused it. Gabrielle claimed that there was just always tension between the two every time that they would see each other. A few years ago, Jada reached out to her to clear things up. The conversation ended with them agreeing that they were both just divas at the time with diva mentalities, and Jada invited Union onto Red Table Talk, now canceled, and said that she needed to apologize for her behavior, claiming that she was in a terrible place and is just in a much better one right now. Sure. Union later appeared on Today and shared that they were both insecure and that was really what caused the rift, but it's mighty convenient that she was ready to talk once she had a platform to record and release that conversation onto. Make up with a celebrity and make money online. Double whammy. Number 6, Vivica A. Fox. Vivica A. Fox is best known for her roles in movies like Independence Day and Schmill Bill. She made her opinions on Jada public when Will did his thing at the Oscar ceremony in 2022. Vivica claimed that Will deserved a second chance while bashing Jada's comments on the situation. While she was on the Wendy Williams show, Fox tearfully reacted to Jada's Red Table Talk remarks about moving forward after the incident. Vivica was Will's co-star in Independence Day, and she also worked with Jada on the film Set It Off in the same year. So she was familiar with these two and had a little bit of a relationship with them. Jada's comments following the show were that she had no part in what happened at the Oscars and just felt horrible, thinking the whole thing was a skit. Whether she did or not, she didn't make a single attempt to stop Will Smith from getting on the Oscar stage, and that's kind of her big problem with the night. Number 5, Chris Rock. Now, ahead of the release of her new book, Jada has revealed a ton of information, which were originally just rumors. Now, while we have covered the fact that she separated from Will Smith for a while, one fun piece of information that got revealed was that, well, she had a little bit of an entanglement with Chris Rock, if you know what I mean. You know, entanglement? It's lovemaking. It's been revealed that before Chris Rock was slapped across the face by Will Smith, Chris had actually asked Jada Pinkett Smith out on a date. Now, when you hear that, you're probably like, oh, he asked her out before they met. No, it was actually in 2016 at the height of the first round of separation rumors, which I guess it turned out were real. Look at that. At the time, Chris either had some inside info or he just believes everything he reads online. According to Jada herself, Chris actually reached out to shoot his shot. He called her and said that he'd love to take her out on a date, to which she replied, "Why?" and told Jada that he was under the impression that herself and Will were getting a divorce for real. But when she revealed that that wasn't the case, Chris was so embarrassed and started to apologize over and over again. Though they moved past it, there's just a little part of Chris that still remains calling out, "Jada, Jada, ah." Number 4, Leah Remini. For those who don't know, Jada lives in a world of science. Yeah, I can't talk about what that means, but if you've ever Googled L. Ron Hubbard and science, you'll know what I'm talking about. Leah Remini, who you might know from King of Queens or Old School, is more than just an actor. She is also very outspoken against Jada's beliefs. The rumors that Will and Jada were big into science, something Leah mentions in her book, had been running around for years. Her book, Troublemaker: Surviving Hollywood and Weird Science, brought to light some pretty interesting revelations, and she brought up the situation of science again when speaking to the Daily Beast in 2017. She claimed to know for certain that Jada was involved for a very long time and that she had never seen Will attending any events, but she did spot Jada attending one at the Celebrity Center in Hollywood. Jada clapped back on Twitter, naming all of the houses of worship that she had visited without being a member. A year later, Leah appeared on the now canceled Red Table Talk. I know that you know it's canceled, I just like to remind everyone. After the interview, Jada gushed about how they connected in the interview, claiming that they were two broken little babies inside both of them who were abandoned by their parents. Yeah, Leah just said, man, that lady's crazy. Number 3, herself. Now, if it isn't clear already from the years of sharing private information for profit, no matter who it hurts, Jada hates herself. For sure. Only someone who truly despises the way that they are would share what Jada has shared. Her love life, her personal life, and now everything down to what she eats for breakfast. Now, if all you do is profit from your own pain, that's a sad existence. Plus, it's no surprise that Jada started sharing this juicy gossip only a few days before her new book is supposed to come out. Many speculate that her entire life is just one big PR stunt at this point. Over the years, she's been in the media for a ton of things, whether it's boycotting the Oscars, getting fired from her own talk show, or honestly just the general nonsense that comes from this woman. Number 2, August Alsina. The world was shocked when R&B singer August Alsina came forward to confirm one of the longest rumors around Jada and Will's marriage, admitting that he had an affair with Jada Pinkett Smith in 2015. During an interview, he claimed that he actually sat down with Will Smith and got his blessing to do his thing thanks to the nature of their relationship shifting. He insisted that the couple had nothing to be ashamed of and that he loved the Smith family. While Will Smith has denied ever giving him a blessing, in fact, he didn't even know that that was a thing until he heard about it online, Jada admitted to the entanglement on Red Table Talk, where she explained to her husband that it was a moment she regretted, but the entire time was referring to the infidelity as an entanglement. entanglement, like it was two Christmas lights getting stuck together in a box. While many were of course confused as to why she would admit this on the internet, people to see, there were also people who were wondering if she might have taken advantage of August, because at the time he was only 22 and had been struggling with his health, suffering from an autoimmune condition that left him hospitalized multiple times. Jada even admitted to being his mentor at the time, which, I don't know, this sounds like a pretty weird mentor-mentee relationship. And at number 1, Janet Hubert. Now, Will Smith got his big break in the acting world thanks to his success on the sitcom Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. The show followed him as the titular prince living with his family in Bel-Air, surrounded by cousins, uncles, and Aunt Viv. And in season 1, Aunt Viv was played by Janet Hubert Witten, but as a lot of people know, she was recasted after an on-set feud with Will got a little bit too heated. According to Will, Janet thought that he was an antagonist in her life. She had been in the business for years, when suddenly Will Smith was this young dude who popped into her life and he got her leading role on a show. And he got a leading role on a show. She held a tinge of jealousy towards Will, and he just walked into town, got the gig, and that was it. Well, that's what happens when you're good at your job, right? She was trying to convince the producers to give her character more screen time and allow her to breathe, but they said no because it wasn't her show, it was Will's show. So she fought back hard, and it was ultimately decided that she was gonna sit out for the rest of the series and be replaced by Daphne Maxwell Reid, who we all know as the main Aunt Viv. Janet has attempted to get into contact with Will and Jada over the years, but it's only ever been a negative experience for everyone involved, which means that she must be harboring a lifelong hatred for the Smiths.
On the top of our list is Kelly Clarkson. On Saturday Night Live, a conversation about how Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's new romance is becoming a regular feature in football coverage had begun. I mean, isn't it funny how this relationship is now a hot topic even during NFL games? As a sports fan, I'm sure people probably think it feels like tuning into a reality TV show instead of watching a game. Kelce himself admitted on his podcast, New Heights, that the NFL might be slightly overdoing it with the coverage of their romance. But the truth is, it's not just Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's relationship that has become a hot topic in football. Over the years, we have seen numerous celebrity sports relationships take center stage in media coverage. And as true as that is, I think celebrity gossip is just too hot a topic to not become the main focus of attention, right? What do you think about the trailer news? Are you also guilty of tuning into the tea regularly? Let us know in the comments below. Next up, Olivia Wilde. Olivia recently stirred up a conversation about Taylor and Travis's romance and its influence on the public perception. In an Instagram story, Olivia shared a thought-provoking post, "I wish Taylor Swift was in love with a climate scientist," seemingly implying that she wished Taylor could use her fame to draw attention to something more important. Upon receiving criticism, Olivia clarified her intention, stating that her comment aimed to underscore the public's skewed attention towards stupid things over pressing concerns. In a recent turn of events, Olivia Wilde's remarks have sparked a dialogue around the Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce relationship, but let's take a closer look. Wilde's interest, it seems, lies not with the celebrity romance, but instead with more pressing global issues like climate change. Her comments, far from showing a lack of interest in Swift's love life, actually highlight a plea for influential figures like Swift to use their platform to draw attention to these significant issues. Wilde's apparent indifference towards Swift and Kelce's relationship isn't born out of disinterest, but rather it's a call to redirect our focus onto matters of greater importance. Next up is Joy Behar. Joy made it clear that she's a fan of Taylor, but has no love for her new boyfriend. She took time to scrutinize some past tweets from him, and her disappointment was palpable. One particular tweet from 2010 where he suggested that women should conceal their back fat came under fire. Kelce followed up by stating, "I feel like if you want to be a cheerleader, you have to pass a beauty test. There's too many ugly cheerleaders out here." Behar had no qualms about voicing her distaste for Swift's new flame, labeling him as an idiot and illiterate. Joy's comments sparked a debate on social media about the importance of holding celebrities accountable for their past actions and words. Many fans defended Taylor Swift's decision to date Kelce and argued that people can change over time. However, others pointed out that his tweets were a reflection of societal expectations and double standards placed on women. Morgan Freeman, let's chat about the Kansas City Chiefs superfan. He made headlines when he confessed his indifference toward the Swift and Kelce love saga. While speaking on CBS This Morning back in October 2023, Freeman honestly stated, "I don't think about them at all. His main concern is more whether his team is winning or not," which is so valid. Freeman's lack of concern for Kelce and Swift's relationship stems from his focused interest in the game itself. To him, the personal lives of the players fall secondary to their performance on the field. He views football as a sport that should be appreciated for its strategy, skill, and competitive thrill, rather than the celebrity status or personal life events of its players. As a superfan, he seeks to maintain the purity of his passion for the game, keeping it separate from the world of celebrity gossip. Freeman also recognizes the importance of respecting the privacy and individuality of the players, allowing them to lead their own lives outside of football. Next, we have Travis's ex, Kayla Nicole. The star tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs and his longtime ex-girlfriend had broken up after a 5-year relationship. The news of their split first made headlines in May 2022, and it was later reported that Travis had been forcing Kayla to pay for half of everything during their time together. Embarrassing. According to a report by Barstool Sports, Travis had been trying to make Kayla prove that she wasn't with him for his massive NFL salary. This resulted in her having to pay for half of every date, trip, and other expenses during their relationship. Since their split, both Travis and Kayla denied rumors on the matter, but regardless, that's still a crazy thing to have to hear about, right? Now let's talk about some celebrities who don't like Taylor Swift, and if they don't like her, it's safe to assume they probably can care less about the budding relationship with current BF Travis, right? John Mayer. In the world of pop culture, Taylor Swift's first high-profile relationship was with none other than John. At that point in time, Mayer was the more renowned star. However, the tables have since turned, with Swift eclipsing Mayer's fame by leaps and bounds. The romance lasted a mere 5 months, but it served as fuel for Swift's lyrical creativity. The notorious song Dear John is believed to be her musical response to their breakup. Swift's relationship with Mayer was just one of many highly publicized romances in her career. She's also been linked to famous names such as Jake Gyllenhaal, Harry Styles, and Calvin Harris. Her love life has become a topic of fascination for fans and the media alike, often serving as inspiration for her music. But Swift's career is not just defined by her love life. She's also made a name for herself as a songwriter, with her lyrics capturing the hearts of millions of fans around the world. From catchy pop tunes to emotional ballads, Swift's songwriting abilities have been praised by critics and celebrated by fans. In 2015, a rift clearly emerged between Nicki Minaj and Swift. This feud ignited when Swift's music video for Bad Blood got nominated for a VMA, inciting Minaj's frustration. Minaj took to Twitter expressing her discontent by saying, "If your video celebrates women with very small bodies, you will be nominated for Video of the Year." Swift retorted, accusing Minaj of promoting women's rivalry, which seemed to peter out the situation, but not for long. Minaj stirred the pot further, raising issues of racism in the industry. Piers Morgan and Katy Perry also jumped into the fray, complicating matters. This whole debacle served to amplify the animosity that some hold against Swift. In the midst of this Twitter feud, many began to question the true motives behind Swift's music video and her image as a feminist icon. Was she truly supporting women of all sizes and colors, or was it just another ploy for publicity? This controversy sparked larger discussions about body positivity and representation in the media, and also shed light on the ongoing issues of racism and sexism within the music industry. Despite Swift's attempts to bridge gaps between women, this feud highlighted the deep-rooted divisions that still exist within the industry, and quite frankly in our society. Joe Jonas! We're discussing another ex-flame of Taylor Swift who's not on good terms with her, Joe Jonas. He once expressed on Twitter, "I'm not the one to openly label someone negatively or expose personal disputes for the sake of selling records. It's clear that the relationship is strained, with Jonas holding some resentment for songs Swift penned about him." Their already tense dynamic took a nosedive in 2023 when Jonas and his wife, Sophie Turner, decided to part ways. Swift wasted no time in stepping in to offer emotional support to the former Game of Thrones star. As Swift and Turner grew closer, fans began to paint Jonas as the antagonist in the scenario. Now, Joe isn't the only one who's been on the receiving end of Taylor Swift's lyrical wrath. Her ex-boyfriend Calvin also fell victim to her songwriting skills, specifically in their breakup anthem, "I Did Something Bad." However, unlike Jonas, Harris has shown no ill feelings towards Swift and even congratulated her on winning a Grammy for that very song. Harris stated in an interview with GQ, "It's a great song and she deserves it." It seems like the relationship ended on amicable terms, with both parties able to move on without any lingering resentment. Counting down to Diplo. It might be unbelievable to some that Taylor Swift, a young, stunning artist, has experienced body shaming. Despite her incredible success and slim physique, she's been the target of criticism from numerous celebrities. Notably, Nicki Minaj had a public disagreement with the Evermore singer, and Diplo also took a jab at her. He tweeted back in 2014 suggesting a Kickstarter campaign to help Taylor Swift enhance her figure. Little did the DJ know he was igniting a firestorm amongst Swift's devoted fan base, the Swifties. They rallied fervently in defense of their beloved pop icon on the internet, making Diplo's life quite challenging for some time. Diplo's animosity toward Taylor Swift may not be purely personal. It's speculated that his actions could be due to the celebrity culture and the competitiveness found in the music industry. Public feuds can often generate media attention, inadvertently promoting the individuals involved. However, Diplo's attempt to gain publicity by body-shaming Taylor backfired significantly. His reputation took a hit while Swift, already an accomplished artist, received further support and admiration from her fans. And speaking of Calvin Harris, Harris is not the only ex of Taylor Swift who has experience being written about in her songs, but he's definitely one of the most vocal ones. In a recent interview with GQ magazine, Harris shared that he regretted getting into a public argument with Swift after their breakup. This brings up an interesting question. Should celebrities' personal lives be off limits when it comes to writing songs or creating art? While some argue that celebrities sign up for public scrutiny when they enter the entertainment industry, others believe that their personal lives should be respected and kept private. With the rise of social media and paparazzi culture, celebrities' every move is constantly under a microscope. That intense level of scrutiny can often lead to invasion of privacy and false narratives being created about their personal lives. On the other hand, some argue that writing songs about personal experiences and relationships is therapeutic for artists and allows them to express themselves freely. And fans even connect with these songs on a personal level and feel a sense of relatability with their favorite artists. We're starting off with Lindsay Lohan. Even the girl next door, Jennifer Lawrence, isn't immune to criticism. Known for her candid demeanor, Lawrence, who topped the list as the highest paid actress in 2015, has carved a niche for herself in the industry, bagging significant roles while maintaining her relatable persona. However, not everyone's a fan. Some question the authenticity of her normal persona, viewing it as a mere publicity gimmick, while others remain undecided about her credibility. Her appearance on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert in December 2015 promoting joy sparked a furor when she unexpectedly took a jab at former child star Lindsay Lohan. Before we go any further, let me know in the comment section whether you think it's fair game to shade celebrities going through personal problems just because their life is already on full display. Anyway, back to the point. When Colbert praised the young actress for being a star who's willing to talk about things that aren't glamorous and asked her about getting sick while shooting Joy in Boston, Lawrence admitted candidly, "I got a stomach virus and I was puking. I'm a big time puker. I don't stop working because I'm a show pony. I don't have a choice, and so I just keep going until eventually my body's just like, if we don't make her barf or pass out, she won't stop. I get like Lindsay Lohan grade exhaustion, but without any drugs or alcohol," she announced. Yikes. Jared Leto. We're throwing it back to the 2014 Oscars when Jennifer Lawrence, ready to present the Best Actor award, seemed to address an unknown individual in the audience with, What is this funny? Who is this mystery person? None other than Jared Leto. Revealing the behind-the-scenes story to Access Hollywood, Leto said she asked, "What are you laughing at?" What she didn't realize was that Ellen DeGeneres was at the side mimicking, don't fall, and my mom and my brother were just cracking up. We might lack manners, he joked, adding, "You can take them out of Louisiana, but not the Louisiana out of them, right?" When asked about Lawrence's infamous red carpet stumble earlier in the evening, her second Oscars fall following the iconic slip she took whilst making her way to the stage for Best Actress award a year earlier, Leto playfully quipped, "I'm beginning to think this may be all part of the act." It's no secret that the Oscars are one of the most prestigious and highly anticipated award shows in Hollywood. Each year, fans tune in to see their favorite stars walk the red carpet, deliver heartfelt speeches, and take home coveted awards, but sometimes it's the unplanned moments that end up sealing the show. Joan Rivers. In November 2013, Jennifer Lawrence, while promoting her upcoming movie The Hunger Games: Catching Fire, sat down with Yahoo's CEO Marissa Mayer for a 40-minute interview. Among the various topics discussed, the theme of body positivity stood out, but not everyone was pleased with Jennifer Lawrence's commentary on body positivity. Notably, Joan Rivers. The late comedian had a few choice words to share via Twitter with a hint of sarcasm. She stated, "My New Year's resolution is ensuring Jennifer Lawrence grows up and realizes how lucky she is and calms down." She waited just a few minutes later to add, "Wait, it just dawned on me why Jennifer Lawrence fell on her way up to the stage to get her Oscar. She tripped over her own arrogance." But her critique continued. "I love that she's telling everyone how wrong it is to worry about retouching and body image, and meanwhile she's been touched up more than a choir boy at the Vatican." She quipped in her signature controversial style, ouch. Up next, Khloe Kardashian. In a 2015 interview with V Magazine, actress Khloe shared her concern concerns about being typecast in Hollywood. Speaking to Natasha Stagg, she confessed that the industry often revolves around marketing strategies and public perceptions. She explained, so much is about marketing and selling the product. They'll have a really peppy fun girl on the talk show rounds and everybody adores her and loves her and wants to be her or F her, and then so many more people want to watch the movie or TV show. She expressed admiration for a few A-listers, including Angelina Jolie and Emma Stone. However, she was less complimentary about Jennifer Lawrence, stating, "I find Jennifer Lawrence annoying. She's too crass." Trump Jr. During a Q&A session between Jennifer Lawrence and Oprah Winfrey, the star was asked if she'd want to meet Trump, not want to hold back. Lawrence spoke her mind, saying, "I think so. I've got a pretty good speech," and it ends with a martini to the face. She didn't have to wait long, as Donald Trump Jr. had something to say to her following the interview. Taken to Twitter, Trump's oldest son shared a link to an article with the headline, "Jennifer Lawrence, if I meet Trump, it'll end with a martini to the face," and fired back, "I'm pretty sure that's not how it would end." Donald Trump Jr. has not been shy about expressing his displeasure towards J-Law. The Twitter exchange was just the tip of the iceberg. It's tough to figure out what thoughts might be running through the mind of the former president's eldest son in this imaginary situation. However, the Twitterverse didn't hold back, with many users hinting at something rather ominous in his response. These users were quick to resurface the serious allegations of sexual misconduct against Donald Trump. It's important to remember here that several women have come forward to accuse President Trump of inappropriate behavior, including uninvited physical contact and forced kissing. The president himself was caught on tape making a lewd comment about grabbing women in an inappropriate manner. Jennifer Lopez. During a visit to The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon in May 2014, Lawrence treated the audience to quite the party story starring herself, Fallon, and Jennifer Lopez. Recounting an incident that took place at the Met Ball, Lawrence revealed, "We both saw J-Lo, and this is like 10 Jell-O shots in. I've never done Jell-O shots. I didn't go to college," she laughed. "So we were dancing and we saw J-Lo and we're like, well, we gotta ask J-Lo to dance. So I was like, we'll do a spin and then we'll go dance. Well, then we'll go." Lawrence reportedly went ahead with the plan, not realizing the funny man had chickened out and got the cold shoulder from Lopez. "I do it and then I look and he's gone and it's just me looking at J-Lo going, 'Dance with me,'" Lawrence continued. "She was just like, no, I think I'm just gonna observe. Made me look like a freak in front of J-Lo. Do you know what that feels like?" Spencer Pratt. In 2017, the famous actress Lawrence was featured on the coveted September cover of Vogue. During her interview with Jason Gay, she shared the story of her house being filled with crystals when she first moved in. She said, "The house was full of crystals and geodes and I immediately wanted them gone. I didn't want to be perceived as a crystal person." Despite warnings from others about moving the crystals, Lawrence decided to remove them all and sell them. Regrettably, her house flooded shortly after, leading her to develop an aversion towards crystals. Interestingly, after the interview was published, Spencer Pratt, a former star of The Hills and a self-proclaimed crystal lover, took offense to Lawrence's comments about crystals. In an interview with The Morning Breath, Pratt asserted his belief that Lawrence's remarks were directed at him. He said, "I'm sure she was talking about me in Vogue. I'm the crazy crystal person she's referring to. We'll see each other at the Beverly Hills Hotel and like all the other A-listers, she'll avoid me." Later in the show, he took another dig at Lawrence, blaming her for his battle with skin rashes. "It spells, it's little bitch-ass voodoo hose. It's Jennifer Lawrence," he stated. Yikes. It's clear that Pratt is not taking Lawrence's comments lightly and has taken them personally. There's more to Pratt's dislike for Lawrence than just the crystal comments. In fact, he seems to hold a grudge against the actress for allegedly ignoring him at Hollywood events. In Pratt's eyes, Lawrence's lack of acknowledgement and her offhanded comments about crystals make her a worthy adversary. This ongoing feud, though perhaps one-sided, continues to add spice to the Hollywood drama and gives fans and followers plenty to speculate about in their interactions. On to the next, Miley Cyrus. Miley Cyrus and Liam Hemsworth's love story is one of Hollywood's most intriguing tales. Their initial split back in 2013 led to a surprising reunion 3 years later, and this, according to a confidential source speaking to In Touch via Hollywood Life, can be attributed to J-Law, or more specifically, Cyrus's alleged envy of the budding relationship between Lawrence and her ex-beau Hemsworth. When Miley sensed something serious transpiring between Jennifer and Liam, she felt compelled to win him back. The unidentified informant revealed, fueled by this passion, the pop sensation was determined to prove to Hemsworth that she was his ideal match, not Lawrence. This green-eyed monster was probably triggered by rumors of the Hunger Games stars' off-screen romance. Adding to the intrigue, Lawrence herself didn't do much to quash the speculations when she admitted on Watch What Happens Live in December 2015 to having locked lips with Hemsworth off the film set. Responding to Andy Cohen's question, "Have you two ever kissed when the cameras weren't rolling?" Lawrence casually replied, "Liam and I grew up together. Liam's real hot. What would you you have done? Yeah, I have. Kim Kardashian. Lawrence has made no secret of her Kardashian obsession and blossoming friendship with matriarch Kris Jenner. And according to an unnamed source who spoke to Radar Online in December 2017, Kim Kardashian has had enough of the Oscar winner's attention. Kim reportedly went into a jealous rage over the close relationship her mom has developed with the starlet, because Kim was always Kris's favorite until Jennifer crashed the scene. She's waltzing into the family's world acting like a superstar and upsetting the order with her loud chaos. Kris says she's a hoot and treats her like the blonde daughter she never had. Kris continued adding, Jennifer's definitely on the VIP invite list for her annual holiday party, so Kim's dreading Jennifer stealing the show. The sunshine walks with Jennifer in Kris's eyes. Kim is fed up and doesn't know what to do. According to the source, Kim Kardashian's jealousy is not just limited to her mother's relationship with J-Law. The reality star allegedly feels threatened by Lawrence's rising fame and popularity in Hollywood. Up next, Lala Kent. In 2018, Jennifer Lawrence made headlines with her appearance on Watch What Happens Live. In a surprising turn of events, she humorously referred to Vanderpump Rules star Lala Kent as a C-word. Kent, understandably upset by Lawrence's nationally aired remark, responded on social media, did Jennifer Lawrence really just call me a C on Bravo WWHL? And then she talks about my mother? She better hope we never cross paths. The tweet, which has since been removed, criticized Lawrence for claiming to support women, yet resorting to derogatory language. The dispute escalated when Kent appeared on the Juicy Scoop podcast, throwing shade at Lawrence for her recent unsuccessful films and insinuating unprofessional behavior on her part. Kent did not hold back, declaring, we've concluded she's not great. From now on, any mention of her will be met with criticism. She needs to improve her hairstyle, her facial appearance, and perhaps consider reducing her alcohol consumption. Yikes.
Number 10, Cindy Crawford. Model and actress Cindy Crawford has called Oprah out over their 1986 interview that took place on her show, where Oprah asked the then 20-year-old to expose herself to the crowd. Crawford reflected on the interview in a new documentary called The Supermodels on Apple TV+. Everyone has a plus now. The documentary spotlights the career of several models like Naomi Campbell, Linda Evangelista, and of course Cindy Crawford. In a clip from the documentary, Winfrey is heard introducing the then aspiring supermodel to the Oprah Winfrey show before she asked, hey, did she always have this body? This is unbelievable. Stand up. Now that's what I call a body. She's visibly just uncomfortable and sheepishly stands up before the studio audience cheers as she shows off her figure. According to Cindy, she felt like a child in that moment being told what to do by a superior. She felt that the moment was more of a show us why you're worthy of being here type thing. At the time, this was just some weird thing that Oprah asked her to do, but it morphed and mutated into one of the most uncomfortable moments of her early years in modeling. The most shocking thing for her was the fact that this was Oprah Winfrey trying to tell her what to do. The woman known for kindness and generosity and cars made her feel like a puppet. Number 9, Jason Momoa. Aquaman, the enemy of Dom Toretto, and now a man speaking out on Oprah Winfrey and Maui. Jason Momoa is a gifted actor, and by all accounts, he is a gifted person as well. Recently, several news outlets have claimed that Jason is on the opposing side of this whole Maui fun thing. If you don't know what that's about, go check out some of our previous videos about Oprah Winfrey where we do it in, deeper dive. According to these outlets, Jason posted a video to Instagram in which he addresses the fires and offers his own support to the victims while never actually mentioning anyone by name. He does mention that some may use this as a way to exploit or make profit, but that was not his intentions. The clip went viral, and as you can guess, outlets were interpreting everything that they could out of it, with the biggest headline being Jason Momoa calls out Oprah for wildfires. While not completely inaccurate, the general consensus is that there is actually no bad, juju between these people. Jason has yet to specify who would profit from this, but since the backlash, he's been posting videos on a regular basis, updating people on the situation and his position in assisting so far. Of course, he's already donated lots of money to the island and has teamed up with Dwayne Johnson to do public functions and collaborations and raise awareness, so that's great considering where it spawned from. Number 8, Dwayne Johnson. Now, when it comes to the whole Maui fun situation, there is one person who is usually left out of the conversation, and that is Dwayne Johnson. Johnson is, of course, one of the most bankable men in Hollywood, starring in like a million franchises, mostly in the jungle. He decided to partner with Oprah Winfrey to create the People Fund of Maui, donated $5 million of his own money to match Oprah's donation. The Rock received a large amount of criticism, but not nearly as much as Oprah did. The main reason being is that The Rock actually has a significantly smaller net worth, and the money that he donated was actually actually his own money. He's still only a millionaire, everyone. He's just as poor as the rest of us. Thousands of his followers have defended him rather than passing judgment because, hey, $5 million is a ton of money and it's gonna make a lot of people's lives that much easier. Unfortunately, there is not a lot of information regarding his position towards Oprah, but the comments on their posts have been turned off and the People's Fund of Maui has raised a lot of money since, so at least something good's coming from all the negativity. Number 7, Tom Hanks. Rumors have been circulating online that Tom Hanks may have received some inside information about the Maui wildfires that pertain to Oprah Winfrey. Now, a ton of videos have been published online in the last couple months claiming that Oprah orchestrated the Maui wildfires and hired a private team of firefighters to make it look more real. According to several media outlets, Tom was made aware of a secret plot because, he's so close to Oprah. The two have been known to share the occasional night out and some pasta. Well, it turns out that these were in fact rumors created by an AI. Someone told the computer to write a story about Tom Hanks and Oprah, and it came up with Oprah sets Maui on fire. So that should tell you how good AI is. While a catching thumbnail and surely a fun bit of information, the reality is that Tom has no idea what's going on. When asked about his position on the Maui Fund, he had nothing but positive things to say and is actually a little disappointed with the reaction from the world. When America's dad tells you he's disappointed in you, that's just an extra level of hurt. Number 6, Oprah Winfrey herself. Oprah is taking one of the bigger spots on this list because she has been trying to warn us about herself since day one. Her talk show is all about bringing the most vulnerable people on and getting views. She's brought violence victims, health experts, fake psychologists, and even convicted felons onto her program, all for the sake of making a few bucks. As the years went by, her style was adapted by more and more studios, creating shows like Dr. Phil and Dr. Oz, who were both equally as controversial. Not to mention a few years ago when she wrote a book detailing her life and rise to the top, she revealed some truly dark things about her home life. Again, covered that in detail in a different video. She herself was considered to be a tyrant by her family, but it seems that whatever negative juju was in that house rubbed off on her forever. Now, there are actually a pretty limited number of celebrities who warned us about Oprah because overall most stories are fake that are out there in the world. So let's talk about some lives that have been destroyed by Oprah Winfrey when they actually did go on her show for real. Number 5, a fabricated memoir. Oprah launched her book club in 1996, a reading encouraging segment from her talk show that turned any book that she chose into a bestseller. In September of 2005, she picked A Million Little Pieces, a brutal and painful memoir by James Fret about his years-long struggle with substance control issues. A Million Little Pieces became the best-selling non-fiction book of the year, and Frey was asked to appear on her talk show to discuss the book that Oprah called gut-wrenching. However, the following year, a news outlet ran a very expositive article about Frey after it was discovered that he made up or juiced large portions of his memoir. For example, there is a section of the book that tells the story of Frey surviving a fatal train crash that took the lives of 2 teenagers. He was never on that train, nor did he have any involvement with that situation. Weeks after the article broke, Oprah asked Frey to return to the show, where he faced livid viewers and an even more livid Oprah. She told James that she felt duped and betrayed, and that feeling was shared by her audience and millions of people who read that book. She asked why James felt the need to lie to herself and the readers, and he tried everything, making every excuse that he could think of. He claimed that he altered a lot of the details, but that the overall plot was real. The studio audience responded with a massive wave of boos, gasps, and groans. Winfrey later apologized for the mistreatment from her audience, as it was not her intention, but the damage was already done and his career as a writer is currently non-existent. Number 4, Harry and Meghan. Prince Harry and his wife Meghan have appeared in the public eye more and more in the past few years. After leaving the duties of their royal family to live on their own, they decided to capitalize on their so-called fame by releasing a series of different medias, books, podcasts, documentaries, and in 2021 they sat down with Oprah Winfrey to air out every piece of dirty laundry that was left in their hamper. Of course, the royal family does not appreciate these secrets being shared with, the world, so not only was Harry blacklisted by them, but the interview kind of soiled the royals' reputation as good people. According to fans of Oprah, the interview made the couple look more villainous than they surely intended. Following the interview, their public image was slightly tainted, and with more media coming out, it just made the situation even worse. Meghan got a podcast and couldn't keep up with material for the first year. They made a documentary that people just don't like, so who knows what they'll get up to to next. It certainly will not be anything good. Number 3, Lance Armstrong. 7-time Tour de France winner Lance Armstrong has gone down in history as a man who is unable to ride a bike without using some chemical training wheels. In an interview with Oprah from 2013, Lance was brought on to discuss the allegations floating around regarding his status as a Tour de France winner. Several sources claimed that Lance had to take performance-enhancing substances to win each race, as well as a type of transfusion involving the red life juice that flows inside of all of us. Armstrong went on air and fessed up to every single thing that had been claimed about him, except he did deny the notion that he was some kind of a mastermind who was controlling his teammates and forcing them to join in his extracurricular activities. But amidst his admission of guilt, say that 10 times fast, there was a moment where he tried to pin the situation on his battle with cancer. He wraps it up by saying that he should have tried harder to cancel the culture rather than create more of a problem. He was stripped of all 7 Tour de France titles and has since lived in exile among the cycling world and honestly just the world in general. Number 2, where's the beef? In spring 1996, the United Kingdom apparently experienced an outbreak of bovine spongiform encephalopathy, or mad cow disease, since I can't pronounce that last word properly. According to the FDA, the disease destroys cows' central nervous systems, and if humans eat the infected meat, you get zombies! No, but they can contract a deadly variant called Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease. During the mad cow scare, the Oprah Winfrey Show booked Howard Lyman. The former cattle rancher had adopted a vegetarian lifestyle and went to work for the Humane Society's Eating with Co-Science Animal Welfare campaign, and he appeared on the show to discuss the threat of mad cows to America. He pointed out that feeding the remains of mad cow to infected cattle or other animals could have facilitated the spread, and that such practices were actually pretty common in the US. Oprah was stunned and vowed that she would never eat a burger ever again. It turns out her influence and her millions of viewers were so large that only a few hours after the episode aired, and she declared to never eat a hamburger again, the price of beef plummeted, staying at an all-time low. Like, anyone who had stocks in the beef industry just not good. One Texas rancher lost an estimated $6.7 million and organized a class action lawsuit against Oprah and her show for talking trash about American beef. After a 6-week trial, she won, leaving someone with no farm and out thousands of extra dollars in legal fees. And at number 1, Tom Cruise. Despite this man being in Mission Impossible, he has been in a lot of movies produced by Tom Cruise. You didn't think Hollywood forgot about the Oprah show, did ya? They didn't. Following the announcement that he was engaged to Katie Holmes in the early 2000s, Tom appeared on an episode of the Oprah Winfrey Show that has gone down in history as one of the most chaotic TV moments of all time. From the moment he steps on stage, things are just going wrong. He throws his arms out in the air, he rubs Oprah's shoulder like she's a genie or she's got a stain that just won't come out. Tom jumped on her couch, grabbed her hands, and she couldn't even get a question out. Eventually, Oprah was like, alright, whatever, just bring Katie Holmes out, and the cameras followed Tom as he ran around the studio trying to get her. Like he was the nature guy running through a jungle like Steve Irwin back in the day. The moment cemented Tom as a man with many hidden personalities, and while it has not affected his work as an actor, ever since that day, whenever he's brought in for press of any kind, all entrances and exits must be locked just to be safe. Now that didn't happen, but again, this guy might be in movies, but he's rarely in anything new that he didn't make. Number 10, Kim Cattrall. Kim and Sarah's feud is the most public and longest lasting on this list, so let's get it out of the way. They met on the set of the show Sex in the City. That's right, I can spell it, but I can't say it. Other options were Flex in the City, which is about muscle men, Checks in the City, that is a show about Chex Mix, and Lex in the City, basically the same show but with Lex Luthor, Superman villain. They met on the set of this show, and money is what drove them apart. According to Kim herself, she admitted that as the years went by, she felt that she deserved a larger piece of the show's profits. Around the same time that these issues came to light, Sarah was given a new title on the show and a bump in pay. Now she was a producer making $300 grand, and it forced Kim to renegotiate her pay with the studios. According to the other cast members of the show, they refused to sit with Kim at lunch or even speak with her openly because they were just annoyed with the way she was handling things. Their friend got a bump in pay, and she should have been excited about that, not trying to one-up her by also getting paid. Later, when the show had finished its run and now a film was being developed, Kim was the only one who was holding out on the project. The reason this time was apparently a lengthy and public divorce, and her father was diagnosed with dementia. I would have said no to a movie too. That sounds pretty rough. Number 9, Anya Taylor-Joy. Anya Anya's career has been growing with every new movie she makes. I most recently saw her in The Menu, and it is a wonderful movie. Go check it out if you haven't already. Anya shared a story on the Drew Barrymore show of a time when she ran into Sarah on the streets. She was just going through a breakup and had been watching The City to cope and gain confidence. So she wanted to thank Sarah for her role on the show and approached her. After telling her how much she appreciated her work and what she was going through, Sarah asked if she wanted to go back with her ex, but Anya said, "Oh no, that's the opposite," and Sarah inspired her to know that things will be better and she'll be okay. Sarah apparently said, "That's nice. I'm gonna get in my car now," and drove away. Now, it's unclear why she responded like this to the statement. Being caught off guard is not an unfamiliar feeling, but she was being praised for her work and told how much it was inspiring another person. Sharing the moment may have just been a way to give us a heads up. Don't say anything nice to Sarah Jessica Parker. Number 8, Bette Midler. Bette and Sarah starred in the classic Halloween movie Hocus Pocus, a movie that will outlive all of us and be viewed by generations to come. The sequel, not so much. Sarah and Bette both played their roles perfectly, as well as Kathy Najimy. There is a very memorable moment in the film where the witches sing "I put a spell on you" and enchant all the adults in attendance, and on top of this scene, Sarah's character sings to enchant the children of the town and bring them into the clutches of the Sanderson sisters. Bette revealed that Sarah actually did sing all of her parts herself and did a great job doing it. The warning that Bette Midler delivered was about how talented Jessica was, warning us to look out and be careful because she is gonna come for you and take your job, and apparently your kids. There are a lot of fun behind-the-scenes facts about Hocus Pocus, like Doug Jones literally holding live moths in his mouth so that they could save some money on special effects, but they could occupy their own list. So let us know if you want to see that down below. Number 7, Tim Burton. Tim Burton is the man behind some truly memorable movies. Corpse Bride, Batman, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory all somehow came from the same man's skull. One of the more random and truly strange movies from his repertoire is the movie Mars Attacks from 1995. Mars Attacks follows the story of Earth being attacked by Martians. It's a wonderful movie that culminates in Tom Jones battling aliens with ray thingies and then discovering that the aliens' weakness is yodeling. That's in the finale of this movie. Earlier in the movie, though, we're introduced to Sarah Jessica Parker as Natalie Lake, who is one of several big-name celebrities involved in this movie. Other people were like Jack Nicholson, Jack Black, Danny DeVito, and Glenn Close, just to name a couple people. This movie deserves a remake or a re-release, something. It's just so wild. Tim warned us about Sarah by casting her in the role where her head is removed from her body and stitched to the head of a tiny chihuahua, probably being a metaphor for not letting her status get to her head, or maybe he just really wanted to see Sarah's head plastered onto a dog. That's probably it. Number 6, Hugh Grant. Hugh is a rom-com original, starring in several films as the leading man attempting to gain the affections of his A-list co-star. In the late 2000s, he was cast to star in a film with Sarah called Did You Hear About the Morgans? A film that follows their characters as a couple forced out of the big city after they become involved in the witness protection program. The premise sounds pretty neat, and I haven't seen it before, so it's on my list now. When speaking about his new role to outlets like MTV, he has nothing but nice things to say about Jessica, with his only real negative comment being about her appetite. According to him, you put anything in front of her, it's gone in 4 seconds. So mean. The two actually grew very close during the production of this film and bonded due to their mutual fear of the final product. Number 5, Matthew McConaughey. This man is a treasure. Go listen to his book or read it if you have the patience. He starred in a rom-com with Sarah Jessica Parker in 2006, and rom-coms used to be his bread and butter before he was able to take on more serious roles and, get nominated for Oscars. The film followed Matthew's character, who is living with his parents as they hatch a plan to get their son out of their house. They hire Sarah Jessica Parker to essentially seduce this man into leaving the home. Kinda like that new Jennifer Lawrence movie, only that one is just way more graphic. When Matt was doing rounds for the press on this movie, he was asked about Sarah constantly. Were they together? How was the set? All of the gripping and hard-hitting questions. Well, it turned out that he had a massive crush on Sarah and made sure that she knew it. Now, not an actual real-world crush, it was more like a little kid crush, because he found love with his current wife, Camila Alves, around 2006, so nothing actually happened between himself and Sarah, apart from the scenes that they did in the film. He seems to have nothing but nice things to say and only warns those who share this crutch to tread lightly. Number 4, Bruce Willis. Bruce and Sarah starred in a very low-rated action movie back in 1993 called Striking Distance. The film followed Bruce Willis as, you guessed it, Pitt, a cop. Only this time he is a sergeant named Tom Hardy, no relation, who is transferred to the river rescue team after his partner falls off a bridge. Sarah plays his new partner, who helps him find the person who's dropping bodies left and right. Considering the caliber of Bruce's old movies, it is no wonder that this one is such a flop. According to the reviews, they tried to create a romantic angle between himself and Sarah, and while that might work in movies like The Fifth Element, this was not The Fifth Element. There is not much to be said about the cast and their views on each other because, from what I could tell, the press tour for this movie was basically non-existent. I guess in 1993 you could just slap Bruce Willis's name on a poster and it would sell tickets no problem, which is fair because that man has made some pretty solid movies. Number 3, Brendan Fraser. Okay, I'm just using this entry as an excuse to talk about one of Brendan Fraser's more forgotten film roles, where he played the live-action version of the cartoon Mountie Dudley Do-Right in the movie Dudley Do-Right. The film, released in 1999, starred Brendan, Alfred Molina as the villain Snidely Whiplash, you might know as Doc Ock from Spider-Man, and Sarah played the love interest Nell Fenwick. Now, if you have ever seen the live-action Rocky and Bullwinkle movie with Robert De Niro, the same studio made this movie, so you can guess where the energy is. Sarah and Brendan spent a lot of time together on set of this one, and it seemed to make the most of the situation. The two understood that they weren't taking part in some Oscar-nominated movie that was going to be this big thing. No, that was The Whale. The costumes were bright and colorful, the dialogue was cheesy, the amount of times Brendan gets injured makes the whole thing feel like an attempted Three Stooges remake, and that never goes well. Brendan's warning was simply to those coming to see this movie that it is not to be taken seriously and just should be enjoyed as a fun live-action cartoon, which it was. Go watch that movie, it's fantastic. Number 2, Ladies in the City. Despite continuing to work together through all of these feud rumors and supposed tension on set, the producers of the show and films have apparently been causing issues with Kim Cattrall since day one. Now, when they said no to her receiving more money as her co-star Sarah did, things continued to be sour as time went on. There was always tension between the crew, and it made for an overall difficult work environment. At least that's what the media wanted us to think. According to Kim and Sarah, in the past few years, those rumors were baseless and blown way out of proportion because she was upset about making less than Sarah, but quickly went away and realized that she had a job and, money coming in. So there was never any bad behavior on set, and the only real drama that took place was the stuff happening in the script. I've never seen that show, but can't imagine it's all smooth sailings and champagne. Number 1, Rachel McAdams. Rachel and Sarah starred together in the Christmas film The Family Stone. It had an all-star cast and was not the typical family Christmas movie that you might expect. Her character in the film isn't some rom-com sweetheart either. She's actually a cold and organized woman who apparently found it difficult to film one scene in particular that sees her character making some questionable comments about gay couples. She absolutely hated filming this scene and has said that the experience was excruciating. Rachel has praised Sarah's performance and says that she was very professional while on set, handling the situation as best as she could. Diane Keaton, who Sarah is just super fond of and was also a fellow co-star, also said that she was wonderful on set, probably because she was such a massive fan and made sure that she knew it. And those are celebrities who warned us about how great Sarah Jessica Parker is. Number 10, Mark Wahlberg. Ted was a massive hit when it came to theaters in 2012, a film about Mark Wahlberg and his sentient teddy bear drinking no-no juice and partying with Flash Gordon. It's genuinely hilarious, and I was stoked when a sequel was announced in 2015. There was one notable difference though between the first and second film. Apart from the second film feeling like an extended episode of Family Guy, there was also a new face taking the place as Mark's love interest. Amanda Seyfried was brought in to replace Mila Kunis' character for the first film. At the end of the first Ted, Mila and Mark are able to patch things up and seem to be heading towards a happy, healthy relationship. However, when the offer for a sequel came to the table, the tone was shifted. For personal reasons like, being pregnant when principal photography on the project began, the creator and voice of Ted still works with Mila to this day, as she's still the voice of Meg on the show Family Guy even after all these years. Mark Wahlberg actually blames Mila partly for the low score on the film as well as the loss of millions of dollars from the budgets. Now, not like, oh Mila, you menace, how could you? It's more like, if Mila was in the movie, maybe it wouldn't have been so bad. I know, stupid babies being born, right? That's a direct quote from Mark Wahlberg. I'm just kidding, it's not. Number 9, Macaulay Culkin. The star of some childhood favorites like Home Alone and Richie Rich was actually dating Mila Kunis for a while, almost 10 years to be specific, but they had a really nasty split in 2011. Kunis actually blames herself, telling the hosts of the Armchair Experts podcast that she took time when she was single to try and piece together what happened and why she did it. While she never confirmed what exactly went down, the split came in 2011, and it was around the same time that Ashton Kutcher and his wife, Demi Moore, started having problems. There are heavy rumors out there suggesting that Mila cheated on Culkin with Ashton. The accusations came as a surprise to many people, as only 2 years before that, because only 2 years before Mila and Macaulay split, she had gushed about him to Women's Health, telling him she found a steady rock in her life and that he was all she needed. The split was messy, and while there was no confirmation on what happened, the outcome left both parties uninterested and annoyed with each other. If she didn't cheat on him, I don't know what happened. Maybe she tried to rob his house while his parents were gone, or let him get stung by a bee. Who knows? Alright, one more. Maybe she tried to rob his family's fortune from a vault carved into a mountain of their faces, but it turned out that the treasure was really family all along. Maybe. Number 8, cast of Bad Moms. Bad Moms is one of the more memorable movies that Mila Kunis ever made, starring herself, Kristen Bell, and Kathryn Hahn as the leading moms of the movie. Fun fact, the cast for this film was almost very different and was also going to be directed by someone completely different. Before the project was given to Mila Kunis and the directors John Lucas and Scott Moore, it was actually in the hands of Judd Apatow and his wife/leading lady, Leslie Mann. They decided to drop the project altogether, and it was eventually greenlit with an entirely new cast. But even with Mila involved, the cast continued to change. Women were agreeing and quitting over and over again, and eventually the final 3 were selected. Mila says that it might have been a sign of women not helping each other in Hollywood, or maybe the script was bad and there was no confidence in the project. It's probably that one. Number 7, Ashton Kutcher. Ashton was doing okay for himself in life, taking time away from acting to be with his family. However, earlier this year, himself and his wife Mila decided to support their That 70s Show co-star Danny Matheson as he was being brought to trial for treatment charges stemming back to 2004. Ashton and Mila said terrible things in support of this man, claiming that he was someone to look up to and that they loved him. Ashton and Mila have been controversial for a long time, since the moment that it was speculated that Ashton left Demi Moore for Mila. Ashton was also a founder of an organization whose goal was to aid those suffering from mistreatment and trafficking, especially underage individuals. Now, of course, following the whole Danny situation, he was forced to step down as the founder and a member because it became just hypocritical for him to be involved. He's never spoken negatively about Mila, but a rift is definitely forming thanks to this incident and probably some other stuff going on behind the scenes. Number 6, That 70s Show. That 70s Show was the star vehicle that created the careers for several celebrities. Ashton Kutcher, Topher Grace, and of course Mila Kunis came out on top, starring in several films and TV shows amongst their careers. During her time at That 70s Show, she had to keep a pretty serious secret to herself, as it should have meant that she would be kicked off the show. When Mila auditioned to work on the show, she actually lied about her age in order to be on the set all day and actually land this role. The then 14-year-old pretended she was 18. She was casted and the show started to ramp up production. And by the time that her secret was discovered, the creators just kind of liked her at that point and honestly didn't care. The show may have launched her career and a few others, but keeping the young star on a series like that only made it seem like it was okay to lie if it gets you a job. Yes, I know people do that all the time, and no, I've never done that because I'm a bad liar. Number 5, Kate McKinnon. Kate is a hilarious woman. Every time I watch Saturday Night Live, I just miss her presence. But of course, Kate just got too famous for the show and was moved into the world of Hollywood with no effort. She appeared as a lead, a secondary lead, and most recently she appeared as Weird Barbie in Barbie. In 2018, herself and Mila Kunis starred together in an action comedy called The Spy Who Dumped Me, as best friends who get wrapped up in an international conspiracy when one of them discovers their boyfriend who dumped them is a spy. Yeah, that plot is a little strange, although it's a pretty solid movie. It sits around 60% on Rotten Tomatoes. Mila's role in the project was actually something that she claims to have done as a favor to the director. In her 20 years of acting, Mila had never worked with a female director on anything. Even the project Bad Moms was directed by men, so she jumped at the chance to make an action comedy with a female leading the charge. Kate was never said anything bad about Mila or her time on set because there was no bad time on set. Mila is professional for the most part, and because of Kate's own energy being so fun and chaotic. It's just hard to find moments of anger with them. Number 4, Demi Moore. Demi and Ashton were an item for quite some time before he left her suddenly and started seeing his current wife, Mila Kunis. The split never sat well with Demi, and while there appeared to be no overlapping on the surface, it was revealed that Ashton more than likely cheated on her with Mila Kunis when they were still dating. Mila Kunis broke up a 10-year marriage in her eyes, something that she will never let go, and why should she? Cheating is messed up. And they did not handle the situation very well at all. As the years have gone by, Demi has grown more and more apprehensive to Ashton. Ever since the Danny situation took place, she's kept quiet on her opinions, but that was telling by itself. Mila is considered to be an antagonist in her life and is to blame for the split between herself and Ashton. Considering the life that Ashton's been living in recent years is probably something that Demi is thankful for. Anyone remember that stellar and definitely not offensive Pop Chips commercial? No? Google it. Number 3, Jessica Biel. Jessica is currently married to Justin Timberlake from NSYNC, who is already going through his own set of public issues, but it turns out that Mila and Justin did not just star in the movie Friends with Benefits, they were actually friends with the Benedicts. The Benefits. In 2011, the two had apparently developed a secret love despite Justin being with Jessica Biel at the time. They actually ended up splitting up not long before the film was released in theaters. Although the two always insisted that they were just friends, according to on-set sources, they were inseparable during the weeks leading up to the film's release. It makes perfect sense that Jessica wouldn't want another woman being interested in her man even if they weren't together. What's worse about the situation is that Mila and Jessica both auditioned for the leading role in Friends with Benefits, but Jessica was rejected. Even after Mila moved on to Justin and Jessica got back together with Justin, there was still a lot of bad energy between them that seems to exist to this day. Number 2, Netflix. For those who missed it, Mila starred in a little movie called Luckiest Girl Alive as the leading lady. It follows Mila as a woman in New York who seems to have everything together, but a traumatic experience unravels her life. The thing with this film is it feels like the studio just didn't really care about it. There were a few big name actors in the movie, with Mila being the person with the most experience, and I personally know that the set of this film just had a lot of bad energy surrounding it. I got to work for these guys for like 3 days a couple years ago, and it was the longest 3 days of my life. I signed an NDA, so I can't tell you all the stuff I saw or experienced personally, but considering the low budget, the low advertisement, and the terrible set, Netflix may have been trying to warn us that she's not worth our time, or money, or effort, or anything. Number 1, herself. Mila warned us about herself when herself and her husband decided to release letters supporting Danny Matheson. For those who don't know, Danny was accused by several women of misconduct and mistreatment stemming back to 2004 when he was still on That 70s Show. At the time, the show was stopped and he was investigated, but because of the time and the limited amount of evidence, the case was dropped. Thankfully, in 2023, it's a lot easier to confirm allegations like this, and he was recently convicted and will serve 3 years in prison. Before the conviction, Danny received letters from former co-stars and colleagues that were written to support his character. Mila and Ashton wrote separate letters to Danny detailing how much they respected him. At one point, Mila literally calls him a role model to themselves and their kids. She received an insane amount of backlash along with Ashton, and they were forced to make a public apology for supporting Danny. Now, if they had just waited a couple of weeks, let things happen naturally, he would have been convicted and they would not have been involved. But instead, her character was called into question. She had to leave a company she worked for, and who knows where her career will go from here. Number 10, Brian Austin Green. Megan's relationship to Brian Austin Green is one of her longest and more recent before MGK. They were together for over 16 years and have kids together. They first met in 2004 while filming the sitcom Hope and Faith and fell madly in love. After all that time, she officially filed for a divorce after coming home from filming a movie. According to Megan, she had spent a lot of time on her own and just loved the way it felt. Something she said she needed to explore more. On her own was the way she liked it, and in the years since, Brian Austin Green has actually said that he was upset at first, but came to understand her position. She didn't ask to feel that way when she left. Many fans of the poems believe that she made reference to her relationship with Brian several times, considering the content of the poems and what they're really about. Brian being mentioned may not be the best thing for him. Number 9, Shia LaBeouf. Starring together in a movie means a lot of time spent in each other's company. After starring on the set of the first Transformers film, Megan and her co-star Shia LaBeouf became an item. Megan says very plainly in her book that she has an addiction to boys, and namely her co-stars. However, another section of her book describes a very toxic relationship that lasted around 2 years. And as we know now, Shia has not been the best boy in town. He's been accused by ex-partners of being rude, physical, and exceedingly manipulative. Now, over the past few years, Shia has attempted to reinvent that image, being real with the world and owning up to his mistakes. Many people believe that Shia is who this poem is really about, but considering what Megan has said about Shia over the years, we don't think that's the case. She has said in recent years that she loves Shia. Not loved, loves. They apparently had a very serious connection on set, but as soon as she was no longer involved with the franchise, the relationship ended. Is Shia one of the many men she's speaking of in this book of poems? Who knows? Number 8, David Gallagher. David is one of the more concerning parts of Megan's dating history, and evidence would show that one of her poems surrounding a toxic relationship may in fact be in reference to David. In her poems, Megan writes about a toxic relationship that she was eventually able to get out of thanks to the support of her friends and family. The relationship lasted roughly 2 years, and she has never said out loud who this person is. Understandably, she doesn't want to start some kind of a legal situation over a relationship, even though from the sounds of it, she has every right to throw this man in jail. It's never been confirmed if David is in fact the man that she mentions in the pages of her poems, but it seems to make the most sense. She's been relatively quiet about their time together, the relationship lasted the right amount of time, and something about the photos of them together from back in the day just don't sit well with people. Again, I don't know for sure what's what, so please don't take what I'm saying as me revealing the truth, because at the end of the day, this list is a combination of things that I found on the internet and actual information from her book. So, hey man, if I had the inside scoop, that would be awesome. Number 7, MGK. Cheating rumors are always circulating about everyone. No one believes that Hollywood icons can actually have a normal, healthy relationship. For Megan and her fiance MGK, there have been rumors since day one. Since the first day these two were spotted together, people have been convinced that MGK is somehow an unfaithful maniac. But why? Why would people think that? I'm not sure if you've listened to this guy speak about his music or just in general, but he's kind of a sweetheart. I watched him paint his nails with Drew Barrymore on her show. They talked about life, careers, so many neat things, and yet the internet looks at this dude and just assumes that he's a menace. Well, the rumors were of course false, and Megan Fox cleared the air herself. There was a rumor that MGK was seeing someone named Sophie, who was MGK's guitarist, but Megan cleared the air and let everyone know not only had MGK never cheated on her, but she was actually pretty close with his bandmates and was confident that Sophie and MGK weren't an item. Megan told people that it was extremely disrespectful to run a news story that is baseless and contains only lies, and I couldn't have put it better myself. Number 6, Angelina Jolie. Now, being compared to anyone in life is not really a great feeling, even if that person is the coolest in the world. Why can't people just appreciate me for me, man? Well, that was the question on Megan's mind when she was offered the role that once belonged to her rival, Angelina Jolie. That's right, I said rival. Apparently very early in Megan's career, she was being compared to Jolie constantly. Just a side comment, for a while, the comparison became all too clear when she was offered the role of Lara Croft in the 2018 reboot of the original franchise. During the casting process, Megan claims that she was pulled in for a meeting. The director really wanted someone who could hold their own and reinvent themselves with a role like Laura. Megan was offered this role after the director saw her in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So, yeah. In the first meeting, she was compared to Angelina Jolie and told exclusively that she reminded them of her. And apparently that's not the compliment that people think it is. They said that she was a no-brainer and that she loves the character, but the comparison was just apparently too much for her. Of course, the role eventually went to Alicia Vikander and the movie ultimately flopped. But we can't imagine Megan was only upset about the comparisons, right? Number 5, Michael Bay. Megan's been featured in several movies over the years, but it was an interview about her time with Michael Bay that landed her in some hot water. The original live-action Transformers movies came out in 2007, starred Megan and Shia LaBeouf in the leading roles, and they were fun films, but apparently behind the scenes there was a ton of tension. According to Megan, who had previously worked with Michael on Bad Boys 2, working with this man was like working for a dictator in Germany in 1945. If you've taken a history class, you know who I'm talking about. Hitler! Of course, Michael didn't appreciate being compared to one of the worst men in history, so a lot of people speculated that her being left out of the third movie may have had something to do with behind-the-scenes drama. She went on to call him bland and claimed that he had no personality or social skills, which is just really rude. When the comments were made public, her career started slowly suffering. Not only was she written out of Transformers, but she was forced to make a public apology and retract the statements following the massive slew of backlash. She took a few years off, but Michael himself later acknowledged this misstep on Meghan's part and not only accepted the retraction, but they actually ended up working together on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Woohoo! Let's break away from celebrities for a moment and just talk about this book because it's neat and it revealed a lot of stuff. Number 4, the tragedy. One of the more truly tragic revelations since the book's release is the fact that Meghan suffered a loss very late in her journey as a mother. Within the final pages of the poetry book, Meghan describes a heartbreaking pregnancy loss that she suffered with her current fiance, Colson Baker, better known as MGK. Meghan told Kana Whitworth from ABC News that she had never been through anything like that before in her life. She has 3 kids already, so it was very difficult for both of them and sent them on a very wild journey together and separately and together and apart, trying to navigate what everything means and why it happened. Meghan has made it clear since day one that this is not some expose memoir that you're gonna sit down and read for like 20 hours. This is a collection of truth told in her words, a story that she needed to share or it's going to make her sick. She's dealt with physical violence from exes, manipulation, tragedy, all of these things that she has had to deal with alone or behind closed doors. Now, while she never names any names in her book, we still feel our hearts wrench when she reads any single sentence. Number 3, addicted to boys. The title of Meghan's book of poems is called Pretty Boys Are Poisonous and is filled with multiple excerpts regarding her past relationships. One thing she has spoken about briefly in interviews about this book is the fact that she was addicted to boys and had a history of getting together with her co-stars. She told Drew Barrymore on the Drew Barrymore Show that when she was young, she was really rebellious and wild, always running away to fall in love with a new flame, aka every co-star ever. She added that at the time she felt herself to be a free spirit and was addicted to the idea of falling in love. She went on to tell Drew that it was actually her kids Noah, Bodhi, and Journey that changed her whole mindset on her relationships and love. She shares her 3 sons with her ex Brian Austin Green, and she claims that something happened when she had her first, realizing that she didn't want to repeat the patterns of her own parents with her kids. Despite being a solid mom, she did admit that she's been a little bad in the past, admitting that she painted a Friedrich Nietzsche quote on an ex's wall in a ton of paint so that they had to redo their room, poking fun at herself by saying that anyone who dated her should write a poetry book because she was not a peach. Number 2, Oxys and Takikis. There is a poem in this book that shares the same name as this title entry, sort of. I'm not allowed to say the real thing because frickin' internet and their restrictions. Meghan revealed on Good Morning America that she has been in several physically and mentally damaging relationships, and I know that's not even close to the right word to use, but again, can't say anything real on the internet. She explained that she was involved with a very famous dude, but nobody knew who she was dating. This unnamed celebrity is one of the men described as an evil ex. In her poem, she describes a dark moment with this unnamed man, writing, "Your eyes go black and I know it's too late to run." She told people that she was pinned, spat on, and later had hands placed on her throat by this delusional and possessed man. I had the opportunity to listen to some parts of this book, and I'm saying this 100% sincerity, go check it out. Meghan is a wonderful writer, and I honestly feel like these words are very powerful. This particular one is indescribable. I can't read the entire thing to you because it's got no words in it, but I also don't want to ruin it for you. And at number 1, the 2009 Golden Globes. Now, this isn't a revelation from her book, but it's something that she had to go through publicly, and it deserves to be mentioned. In 2009, comments started flying left and right after Megan Fox was spotted acting a little strange at that year's Golden Globes. She explained that during the event she was placed at a table with Blake Lively and the Jonas Brothers. In the center of the table was a bottle of Mo Champagne, and she went through multiple glasses of that. At the time, she was not much of a drinker, but following her actions at the event, she decided to quit for good. She actually had herself a good old-fashioned blackout at the event, but the parts that she does remember are not great. She then went to the red carpet and said a lot of things that got her in a ton of trouble. In a clip from 2009, Meghan can be seen walking around and telling people how nervous she was to be there and that she was on the verge of tossing her cookies at any moment. She also made a ton of comments on her female co-stars, nothing bad. One quote is just her expressing how much she wanted to have Salma Hayek's chest. The evening was also a little strange as people were wondering where her husband at the time, Brian Austin Green, was. And apparently, he was a man with an ego and he didn't want to be her date. At least that's what she said. Number 10, Angelina Jolie. Brad and Angelina seemed to be the perfect couple when they got together in 2005 after starring in the film Mr. and Mrs. Smith. They claimed to have fallen deeply in love, and Brad even left his then wife, Jennifer Aniston, to be with Jolie. Within 2 years of their 2014 wedding, Angelina announced that she'd be divorcing Brad Pitt, citing irreconcilable differences. The truth is that there were allegations against Brad at the time that he may have mistreated his adopted kids and even got physical. There was apparently a private altercation that took place on a private jet involving Angie, Maddox, and Brad, and when they got home, Angelina filed for a divorce with little to no explanation as to why. While attempting to split their assets, Brad actually sued Jolie for allowing a Luxembourg manufacturer to purchase her shares in their French vineyard without asking permission. While she was silent for a long time, in 2020, she revealed that the split was for the safety of herself and her kids, adding it was the right decision and she continues to focus on their healing. She also said that in an ideal world, she would live with her family overseas, as it's not only safer, but more of an adventure, whatever that means. Considering what has been coming out about Brad this week, it seems like the situation may have been darker than we initially thought. Number 9, Mike Tyson. Brad got off easy in the late 80s when he was caught in bed with Mike Tyson's estranged wife, Robin Givens. During an in-depth conversation with Graham Bessinger, Mike called out how he got mad as heck after discovering the then relatively unknown Brad Pitt paying Robin a visit for some alone time, little no pants dance, if you will. Tyson said that he was going to his lawyer's office to divorce Robin that day, but he said that he, wanted to sneak in a quickie. Even when the relationship was crumbling and he was being exposed as a bad guy, he thought that it was a smart idea to stop by his ex-wife's house unannounced for a little afternoon delight. He claimed that this day, someone beat him to the bedroom and it was Brad Pitt. His face dropped when he saw Mike Tyson come home early only moments after completion. He claims that at the time, Pitt was not the heartthrob that he was now and actually appeared to be more of a beach bum and a nerdy guy upon first glance. You would think this story ends with a brawl and bruises, but it actually ended pretty civilly. Mike said that he was afraid to throw any punches because at the time, there was some strange Brazilian karate being taught to many celebrities. He said that he was scared and thought that he should back up and just kind of let Brad go for both of their sakes. Number 8, Tom Cruise. Despite collaborating on screen for the 1994 film Interview with the Vampire, Brad and Tom have actually spoken pretty negatively on their experiences on set. There really does seem to be zero love between these two. Pitt once revealed that working with Tom Cruise on this project left him feeling miserable, and apparently Tom just kind of bugged him, like he just really started resenting him as the film went on, claiming that Tom was a North Pole and he was the South. He also explained that there was an underlying competition that got in the way of any real conversations these two tried to have. If that wasn't bad enough, Angelina Jolie kind of stole a role from Tom Cruise that ended up being one of her best solo projects ever, which was Salt. Yeah, Salt was almost a Tom Cruise movie before the studios changed their minds last minute and decided on Angelina Jolie instead. Tom and Brad have never seen eye to eye, and considering they have yet to star in another project together, there is still clearly some bad juju left over. Number 7, Harrison Ford. In 1997, a collaboration event for the ages took place. Harrison Ford, Indiana Jones, and Brad Pitt starred together in an action thriller. Two A-listers representing different generations working together to create a film called The Devil's Own, an absolute smash at the box office. While a successful film on paper, the reality is that it came at a cost for both performers. Following the film's release, Harrison Ford went on record and said that the set was tough. It was apparently the most irresponsible bit of filmmaking, if you could even call that. The main conflict surrounded the script for this film, with Harrison and Brad having completely different ideas on how they should play things out. According to Harrison, Brad had a complex and layered character, which was something that he wanted for his character as well, so that the movie wasn't just boiled down to good versus evil. After bringing up an idea to the writers, Brad fought back, telling Harrison that his character was just fine the way he was. They fought back and forth for quite some time, trying to decide the best course of action, and eventually things just got toxic and complicated. If Indiana Jones doesn't like to work with you, then there is a problem. Number 6, his family. Recently, a lot of information about Brad Pitt's role as a father has been released into the world. His adoptive son, Pax, has gone on record to say that his father, Brad, is an asshole who makes his kids tremble in fear. In an Instagram post, he ranted about Brad's role in his life, and according to him, Brad is an unhinged man who will snap at a moment's notice. He wrote that Brad made the lives of those closest to him a living hell. He wrote, "Happy Father's Day, you effing awful human being." He wrote that Brad has time and time again proven himself to be a terrible and despicable person. He has no consideration or empathy towards his 4 youngest children who tremble in fear when they are in his presence. He will never understand the damage he has done to his family because he is incapable of doing so. Brad has responded to these comments in the most parent way possible, saying that he's disappointed in his children, feeling they have to drag his name through the mud. Pax did not say that there was a specific event that caused this rant, but considering the split that took place between Brad and Angelina, this rant is more than likely not baseless. Number 5, Kirsten Dunst. In 1994, a really solid film called Interview with a Vampire made its way to the silver screen, and it featured awesome performances from its stars: Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise, and a young Kirsten Dunst in her first big role on screen. For this role, she played an ancient vampire trapped in the body of a child, and at one point her character is meant to lock lips with Brad Pitt, something that she remembers as one of the most embarrassing moments in her acting career. The age gap between them is one thing, with her being, 11 and him being 31. The on-screen smooch between them was actually her very first one ever, and the entire thing was just unnerving according to her. She remembered Brad as a hippie, always watching Real World, sporting long, luscious hair, and everyone in her life was telling her how lucky she was to be in this position, but she thought it was disgusting, which it was. The film had apparently left her in a rough mental state, and she eventually took a break from acting and entered a rehab facility after a couple of really rough years. While she never said that Brad was the cause of her rehab stint, acting at such a young age with an actor of his caliber clearly made a negative impact on the young actress. Number 4, Jennifer Aniston. Jennifer and Brad were actually married for a while back before the whole Brangelina thing. Although they are on decent terms these days, they actually had a very messy split. Brad left Jennifer to be with Angelina after starring together in Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Not only did they get together only weeks after filing for divorce, but they were extremely public about their love for each other. In 2006, Jen was asked about her feelings about reading an article of them declaring their love, to which she was obviously annoyed. She explained that joking about it makes things better. Sticks and stones, right? She claimed that Brad could have been a bit more considerate when the situation took place, and she wished that she could just shake him and say, "Hey man, your timing sucks." He makes choices that were incredibly insensitive and made his choice known. He can do whatever he wants. They're divorced, right? As I said, they eventually got back to a good place and seem to be friends now, but for all the world knows, this could just be a show to keep people from making a mountain out of a molehill. Number 3, Justin Theroux. Star of The Leftovers, Justin Theroux has made his feelings about Brad Pitt known thanks to a 2016 Instagram post filled with F-words and fun. Justin is actually married to Brad's ex, Jennifer Aniston, and that might be part of the reason that he included Brad's name in this post. A piece of artwork by graffiti master Nick Flat expressing his thoughts on the impending US presidential election at the time. The artwork contained a phrase that read F Brad Pitt mixed into a slew of F no-no words. Of course, Brad had nothing to do with the presidential elections, but considering his history with Justin's wife, this post makes a lot of sense. In a hashtag underneath the picture, he wrote the post was not shading anyone because Justin's not 11 years old, but his followers weren't so convinced and left comments calling him savage. Number 2, Bethany Frankel. If there's one man on this planet that almost appears to be aging backwards, it's Brad Pitt. Yes, he was in Benjamin Button, and yes, it's way too long. That has nothing to do with this entry, I just wanted to say that. Apparently, Real Housewives of New York City star Bethany Frankel would disagree with the statements. While speaking on an episode of Justin B with Bethany Frankel, the topic of skincare products was being discussed, specifically a line of products created by Jared Leto and Brad Pitt. For almost no reason, she made the comment that the actors should stick to what they know and leave skincare to the professionals. She was quoted saying that all of a sudden all these men are fascinated with skincare. Jared Leto doing a skincare routine? Is he gonna wear a pink headband and push his long hair back? What about Brad, huh? How does he do a skincare routine? Take a break, man. It's weird to do this. Yeah, so her concerns were weird. Men and women can do anything that each other can do. Lots of men have successful clothing and makeup companies. Brad and Leto's products are for all genders. So the comments are a little bit out of nowhere, but if we listen to everything a Real Housewife of New York said, the world would have imploded a long time ago. Number 1, Courtney Love. Courtney is not known for holding back her feelings about, well, anything. During an episode of WTF with Mark Maron, the subject of one of Brad's most popular films came up, but I can't tell you the title because you're not supposed to talk about it. The whole front woman revealed that she had been lined up to portray the character Marla Singer in that film, but it eventually went to Helena Bonham Carter. Unfortunately for her, she was removed from the project last minute due to an ill-timed beef with the man casted as Tyler, aka Brad Pitt. The incident was related to her late husband, Kurt Cobain. Love explained that Brad had wanted to play the singer of Nirvana in a proposed biopic, however, she did not believe that Brad was the A-lister that could do this role. She recalled a conversation where she literally asked him who he thought he was. She had no trust in Brad or his ability to sell a film, and she continued to say that if Brad didn't get her, then he wouldn't get Kurt either. Love later admitted that she wished she had kept quiet because she lost a really good role, and, well, that movie is just awesome. Number 10, Jason Statham. Jason is no stranger to the action world. This man has tussled with sharks, jammed jumper cables down his throat, and battled alongside Dwayne Johnson. He is unstoppable. In 2005, Jason got the chance to star alongside Jessica Biel and Captain America himself, Chris Evans, but more on him in a couple of minutes. In the film, Jason plays the same man that he has played for like 20 years. He's a bad influence, a tough guy, he's Jason Statham, with Jessica acting as the leading lady and titular character, London. The film actually follows London attending a loft party in New York where her ex, played by Chris Evans, attempts to win her back. Overall, Jessica and Jason actually spend very little time together on screen because the plot sees Chris Evans hiding in a washroom early in the film where he meets Jason's character, just kind of chilling there and doing some no-no snow, you know, the huge. According to Jason, he was glad to spend time on his own or with Chris as he felt Jessica was just not giving him a ton to work with when they were together. Nothing negative, just, you know, wasn't the right vibe. When the film tanked, and I do mean it tanked, it is not good. The collective crew agreed that it was no one person's fault. Unfortunately though, when you are the lead of a film, you are held responsible when it comes up short. Number 9, Chris Evans. As we just talked about, Chris Evans was also a main cast member in the film London, playing Jessica's estranged boyfriend. He spends most of the movie doing no-no snow and other fun stuff while trying to summon the courage to confront Jessica and reclaim his lady, which is a very problematic plot, I know. For Chris, he more than likely shares some disdain towards the project, mainly because of the way his character is portrayed and how poorly Jessica played hers. It was supposed to be a raw and emotional movie, but it didn't even get close to that. It had a stellar cast, people like Isla Fisher, Kat Dennings, Louis C.K. Nope, scratch that last one, that guy's not stellar anymore. Considering Chris has had more impressive roles since London, we can imagine that he's moved past this project and is glad to have gotten his start somewhere, even if that somewhere was acting like a degenerate and crashing a party that he wasn't invited to. Luckily for Chris, 2005 ended up being a great year, as not only was he in this disaster, but he also premiered as the Human Torch in the Fantastic Four, which is just like the best movie ever, probably ever made. Number 8, Jake Gyllenhaal. Jake Gyllenhaal is the chaotic good that we all need in this world. I could watch this dude do interviews all day long. Mr. Music is the best. So for him to not like Jessica Biel, it's pretty interesting. Their history together dates back to 2015 when they co-starred in a movie together called Accidental Love, a film that currently sits at an 8% on Rotten Tomatoes. So it's not great. It was supposed to be a rom-com, but it didn't turn out that way at all. The plot of the movie sees Jessica's character take a nail to the head, literally, and it changes the way she responds to emotion. Because she can't afford surgery to fix it, she finds a lawyer, who's played by Jake, to help her get the coverage that she needs. Shenanigans ensue and they end up falling in love. You know, you get it. Since the film tanked at the box office, there's been some debate as to who is really to blame. Was it Jake Gyllenhaal, aka Donnie Darko, aka Bubble Boy, aka Jack Twist from Brokeback Mountain? Or was it Jessica Biel, star of I Now Pronounce You Chuck and Larry and Whistler's daughter from the third Blade movie? Of course considered to be the best Blade movie of all time, especially by Wesley Snipes. I'm being sarcastic. Jake has never publicly claimed that his co-star is to blame for this poor reception, but he doesn't have to. We know. Number 7, Gerard Butler. Gerard Butler is not a man that would normally be associated with the world of romantic comedies. Famously, Gerard has played more brooding and angry enemies in films, being the man that kicked 1,000 kicks in the 2006 action drama 300. But of course, he was in some more romantic themed movies beforehand. Fun fact, Gerard Butler portrayed the Phantom of the Opera in a 2004 film, and he did did an amazing job. This dude has an incredible voice. In 2012, Gerard and Jessica starred opposite of each other in a romantic comedy called Playing for Keeps. Gerard plays a retired soccer star who's struggling financially and failing in his attempts to make things right with his ex-wife, played by Jessica Biel, and their son, Louis. A position opens up on Louis's soccer team and Gerard steps in. His character's not just good with the kids, but with the single moms as well. Honestly, this sounds like kind of a fun movie. It's literally just Will Ferrell's kicking and screaming, but with romance. Unfortunately, the cast was not enough to save this film from being a massive dud. Anyone who has seen this film agrees that it wasn't Gerard that was the problem, it was everyone else. While Gerard admitted that he didn't love playing the character, he wasn't super fond of working with Jessica Biel either. A studio head revealed a while ago that the only reason she was actually casted in that movie was because she looked good next to Gerard and not her acting abilities, and that always goes very well. Number 6, Uma Thurman. Uma was one of the single soccer moms from Playing for Keeps, acting as a love interest of its main character, Gerard. Uma has a very divisive career, considering that she was in Pulp Fiction, the 1998 Avengers movie, not that Avengers, different Avengers, though Uma is definitely someone who should be in the MCU. Get on that as soon as possible, Kevin Feige, I'm looking at you. She also had the misfortune of appearing in the 1997 comedy Batman and Robin, alongside of Arnold Schwarzenegger and George Clooney, and I do apologize for bringing up any traumatic memories that you might have surrounding that movie. For Uma, a woman who has led many movies to great success, it must have felt odd for someone of a lower status to be the leading lady in the movie. At the time, Jessica was still trying to find her place in Hollywood, something that she is still apparently trying to do, so to be casted as the lead when you are surrounded by A-listers like Uma Thurman and Catherine Zeta-Jones, it's a bit off-putting. I intend on watching this movie as soon as possible, I have to know how bad it really is. And speaking of Catherine Zeta-Jones, number 5, Catherine Zeta-Jones. Catherine was yet another soccer mom on the cast of Playing for Keeps, and much like her fellow co-star Uma, has a very impressive track record. She starred in movies like The Legend of Zorro, Chicago, Ocean's 12, and now she is Morticia Addams in the Netflix series Wednesday. She was also featured in the National Treasure TV show on Disney+, but I don't like to talk about that show. Very bad. For someone who not only had a proven record of solid movies, but who could have very easily played the leading lady, she must have been pretty uncomfortable on set. She stole the show whenever Jessica was on screen, and rightfully so. With a cast like that in this movie, you can't blame any of them for warning Hollywood to not cast her again. She had no proper talent and was cast because she had the face that the producers were looking for rather than the acting talent like the rest of the cast. Number 4, Edward Norton. Edward Norton has an interesting career track record, unable to solidify himself in one genre until he started working with Wes Anderson. Before working with Wes, Norton was featured as the lead in a movie called The Illusionist. The film is about a magician who uses his magic to win the heart of a woman far above his social standings, who of course is played by Jessica Biel. It's actually a pretty neat movie if you're into slow burns, so check it out if you have never seen it. My mother has it on DVD, you can ask her for it. They have only worked together once, but there was probably a reason for this. Edward Norton was in movies like Fight Club, The Incredible Hulk, Glass Onion, so he is nothing short of an amazing actor. So for him to be working alongside of an unconvincing typecasted person was just overall disappointing. The movie did okay, but a common complaint was that Jessica's acting was just not as good as some of the other people in the movie. She simply just looked the part, which unfortunately seems to be the case with most Jessica Biel movies. Seriously, someone give this lady an acting class or two. Number 3, Nick Cage. In the movie Next, Nick plays a stage magician in Las Vegas, Nevada, who can see exactly 2 minutes into the future. Very specific. An FBI agent catches on to this, and so does a group of very bad people who I have never seen Next, and I will now be watching it as soon as I'm done filming this. So, to gain leverage on the group of people that they take, Jessica is a hostage, and the FBI agents have to help Nick get her back while learning more about his abilities. Jessica plays the love interest once again, and she just doesn't do great once again. The movie was supposed to be intense and action-packed, and she just doesn't really fit into that title. Now, Nick Cage is not an easy man to work with and is known for taking small game passion projects and just milking them for everything they have, but this movie did not really help, nor ruin either of their careers overall. It was just a step, but not in any good direction. Number 2, Esty Stanley. He has been Jessica's personal stylist since he was actually famous, no doubt because of her very famous husband. But Esty happened to have a book with all of Jessica's past red carpet outfits, where a lot of them were just cringy or plain inappropriate for the occasions. Some of the instances, just to name a few, were wedged flip-flops and crop tops, or low-rise jeans with tube tops. I feel like I'm reading a Dr. Seuss book. There was one photo where he was wearing a leather jacket, leather pants, and a beanie on the red carpet, so hey, looking cool, calm, and collected. Hey, you can't blame her stylist for wanting to shake her a little bit to knock the sense into her. At least her personal stylist hasn't done anything super dirty compared to the other people on this list. And at number 1, Britney Spears. Taking the top spot on this list is, of course, Britney J. Spears. It's obvious that Jessica isn't going to like her. She's married to her very toxic ex-boyfriend, Justin Timberlake. Britney went off when talking about how terrible Justin was, and it ended up getting Jessica all worked up and filled with fury. Jessica has attempted to defend herself and Justin by saying that everything happened 20 years ago and that he already apologized for everything that he did, so we should all just move on already. But she also claimed that Britney's announcing that they could have had a child together sent Jessica's family into a frenzy. So much so that they just went on vacation to get away from the chaos, because, you know, leaving the country suddenly always makes you look super just great. You guys are great.